Jason Minix, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Nothing like easing back in after a long holiday weekend. Ain't much going on in the sport. Yeah, right. I mean, there's so much going on today. I don't know. Do we go back and spend time talking about the flag fest we saw on Thanksgiving with the Cowboys losing to the Raiders? Oh, piss poor performance that was. Anthony Brown, dude, come on. But it was the refs. I don't know. I don't know. We got to start with the news of the day. And it's not that Lincoln Riley's the new head coach of the USC Trojans. All the dominoes that are going to fall. And you realize why coaches lie to us. Although Lincoln didn't. We all thought he was going to LSU. And he said, I will not be the next head coach at LSU. He was right. There was no follow-up that said, are you going to be at Oklahoma? It was this job. I mean, congrats to USC for keeping that thing quiet. No way that it came together minutes after they lost to Bedlam, Oklahoma State in the Bedlam. No way. I mean, that was worked out well in advance. It was a matter of when were they going to announce it. And good for Lincoln Riley. We'll talk quite a bit about that. But really the big news of today is the Spurs have a chance to win 2 in a row. Oh, wait, no, that's not the big news of the day. But we'll talk some Spurs coming up as well. The big news of the day is Mike McCarthy is on the COVID list.
The players are, it's...
Stop, Pledge. I'm not going to make fun of the guy for coughing during his weekly interview on R&R in the Morning, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. I'm not going to do it because the guy made the phone call not knowing that he had COVID, not knowing that he was about to test positive or that his results were going to come in and be positive. There is an outbreak going on with the Dallas Cowboys. There are 8 right now, but mainly with the coaching staff and strength and conditioning and, some offensive line types. And I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I'd much rather it be Mike McCarthy sitting in the hotel on Thursday night than, say, Dak Prescott. I mean, we Amari Cooper kind of started this whole thing. And I say that, I don't want to sound like I'm blaming Amari Cooper, the unvaccinated one, but he was the first to test positive. And and now we've seen the domino fall. Terrence Steele at tackle is also on the list. He's the only player. We expect Amari Cooper to come off the COVID list and be ready to go for Thursday night. We know CeeDee Lamb is back at practice. He's going to play Thursday night. You're going to have some healthy offensive linemen like Tyron Smith back and Lyle Collins back. So that is some good news for the Dallas Cowboys. But you won't have Mike McCarthy. What I find interesting, and this is where we are right now. I know when he was on with Rob today and apparently Rudy, who needed just another day off, apparently. He was coughing a little. And this time of year, a lot of people have a cough. Allergies, they suck this time of year. As somebody that deals with allergies, I get the cough. I mean, it's going to be there. But what I find interesting, it's not what he said with Rob and Rudy, although Rudy wasn't there. It's not what he told Rob. It's, right after he's on with us, or no, he's on with 105.3 The Fan first, then he's on with us, is he talked about all the precautions that they've been taking, including himself, who's moved into a hotel.
I think our players are actually have done an excellent job going to taking the extra step. I mean, personally, I've moved in a hotel the last couple of days, so our climate here is we're doing the things necessary to give us the best chance each and every week, and I'm confident, I have strong belief as long as we continue to do that we'll get to where we want to go. I think our players are actually have done an excellent job going to taking the extra step. I mean, personally, I've moved in a hotel the last couple of days, so our climate here is we're doing the things necessary to give us the best chance each and every week.
And that's all you can ask for. And again, he's vaccinated. He's talked about being vaccinated, and we all know that if you're vaccinated, you can still catch COVID. It's just the symptoms aren't going to be as bad in most cases, and you're going to recover sooner, and that is where he is. But there's no way that he's able to coach on Thursday night. It just doesn't work that way. We've seen that. You're going to miss at least a game, and we've seen other coaches miss games and still win. You've got to adjust on the fly. You got to get into the Zoom meetings, which is something the Cowboys had planned on doing. And again, Mike McCarthy on R&R this morning, prior to him finding out that he had tested positive, talked about with the cases that were showing up at the Star within the Cowboys organization, that they were going Zoom this week.
I think the fact that we had the experience of it last year, and I think that even the new players coming from college, have had to go through Zoom experience, not even if it was at their college, but, going through the draft process and everything. So, frankly, I was very impressed with the meetings. I thought our coaches did an outstanding job in the presentation, and the players are, it's just like anything. They're accustomed to it. They're very technical and savvy with it. So when they came in and the practice yesterday, they're on top of their work. So at the end of the day, it's about getting it done right, and so hopefully it'll serve as a good break.
And maybe that's it. I mean, it's going to be kind of a light day, weird part of the schedule. The interesting part that I find for the Dallas Cowboys, I thought it was going to be John Fossil that would act as acting head coach, interim head coach, whatever the hell you want to call it, because it seems like so many of the head coaches that have missed a game because of COVID, it's the special teams guy that's taken over the head coaching role, time management, stuff like that. So you don't disrupt what the offensive coordinator has to do or what the defensive coordinator has to do. The Cowboys announced that Dan Quinn is going to be the head coach on Thursday night when the Cowboys take on the New Orleans Saints. Now, Dan Quinn has spent all of this year coaching from the press box. He's going to be down on the field. Now, granted, he's been a head coach. He's been on the field. He's done all of that in recent times, with Atlanta. I'm still surprised it's not Fossil. Why disrupt all the other things going on? Part of me wondered, would it be a little Kellen Moore? Could it be an audition for him to be a head coach, as Oklahoma is looking? Or maybe that's why it's not little Kellen Moore, just to make sure that people don't find out if he can manage a clock and decide when is the right time to challenge and when is not the right time to challenge. But I look at this Dallas Cowboys team, and they're in a funk right now. Dak Prescott is in a slump. This team has lost 3 of 4. Now, granted, to the AFC West. So in big picture things, when you start looking at tiebreakers, it's okay to lose to an AFC team. It's not okay to lose to the AFC West every game that you've played against them, minus the Chargers, But I mean, you look at it and you go, if they're 4 losses, 3 are AFC teams. They're in a funk. Dak Prescott has been off target. Part of that is lack of receivers. There's a reason why those guys are backups, and you're seeing it. 10, 15 snaps, they're good. 25, 50, 40, 25, 30, 40 snaps, not so much. Gaining separation, drawing coverage away, taking that extra attacker away. You get Amari Cooper back and you get CeeDee Lamb back this week. I hope that means Dak Prescott is more on target, because he was rushing a lot of stuff against the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, there were a couple of plays. Noah Brown, they weren't perfect passes, but, man, it hit you in the hands. Catch it. Come up with that clutch catch. Help out your quarterback who's clearly struggling. But you can't tell me that Dak Prescott is not in a slump right now. He seems off target for whatever reason. CeeDee Lamb back this week. He has said he's back. Thought he was going to play Thursday against the Raiders, but can't mess with head injuries. And we expect Amari Cooper to get activated off of the COVID list. Cowboys haven't done that yet today, but he was in the building today. So that's a good sign that he's going to be ready to go Thursday night against the Saints team. Now, for the Cowboys, every team hits something in the middle of a year at some point. It's hard to go undefeated. It's hard to keep things playing at a certain high level. I mean, we've seen it with the Buccaneers. They got a win yesterday that I don't know that they really should have gotten, but good teams figure out how to win those games. You've seen Green Bay have a clunker or two. I mean, every team except really Arizona, but it's not like Arizona's undefeated. And when they lose bad. But, they had Colt McCoy for one of those. So you look at it and you go, all right, everything that Cowboys want to do is right there. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles had a chance to make the NFC East. Kind of interesting as we turn the calendar to December in a couple of days. But they couldn't get it done. They can't catch the ball. Jalen Reagor taking over the role of Nelson Aguilar as Philadelphia Eagle wide receivers with center block hands. Jalen Hurts throws, 3 interceptions yesterday, 4 interceptions. If you're in a bad QB league, he's gold. But you look at what is going on right now in the NFC East, the Cowboys are still very much in control. I don't know what to make of this game coming up Thursday night against the New Orleans Saints because, quite frankly, the Saints aren't a very good team offensively. I don't think Alvin Kamara is going to be back. He's on my fantasy team. Trust me, I miss him. So do the Saints. Simeon is at quarterback. Cowboys should be able defensively with Demarcus Lawrence coming back. You start to get some of those reinforcements, and that is the good news for the Cowboys. You know that the help is coming. They haven't done a good job weathering the storm without some of these guys, but you know that the help is coming. These aren't season-ending injuries that they're dealing with. In fact, McCarthy on R&R this morning, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds, talked about how close some of those defensive players are to returning.
D-Law was part of the practice yesterday, so we'll see how he does today, and we'll make a decision on his availability for Thursday. Randy's getting better, so had a really good workout yesterday. Neville, we started his 3-week clock yesterday, so it's as these guys get ready, once again, it's a medical decision once they're cleared, and we feel like they've had enough fundamental work that their cohesion's where it needs to be. We'll get them back in there. That's the plan.
And so that's part of the help that we know is coming for this Dallas Cowboys team. I mean, it was one thing not to have Demarcus Lawrence, but when you played all but one game without D-Law, but then when you lose Randy Gregory and you lose that pass rush, I mean, Micah Parsons can only do so much. And then, of course, all the damn penalties, which kept, I don't know how many Raider drives alive, which certainly didn't help the matters much on Thanksgiving. But help is on the way for the Cowboys. I'm not ready to completely say, man, they are about to hit the iceberg and this great season is going down the tubes. Because we know without certain key players, it's hard to win games. And you see it throughout the league. When you lose guys, it's hard to win. Cowboys have reinforcements coming back. Solid key players coming back at the right time. You look at the December schedule. They get through this gauntlet. And after Thursday night against the Saints, you get kind of that long weekend, that mini bye. And then the December schedule is basically a run through the NFC East. A lot of key games, but there's separation there. And you're going to get players back and healthy. And I would much rather the Cowboys be healthy and hitting that full cylinder stride as we turn into January in the postseason than early October. Dak Prescott in that slump, he's got to break out of it. Thursday night, the Blitz is going to be live out at R&J Saloon. We're going to the south side. We're going down to R&J Saloon with our friends at Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And we are going to have a ton of Dallas Cowboys Miller Lite gear to give away. And this is Miller Lite ugly sweater time. So I imagine some good holiday gifts that we're going to have out at R&J Saloon. this Thursday night from 4 to 7. Then, of course, stick around and watch the game. We'll get into that quite a bit. More Cowboy talk coming up in the 5 o'clock hour as RJ Ochoa from Blog and the Boys will join us. Plus the Moose, Daryl Johnston, 3-time Super Bowl champ with the Dallas Cowboys. Daryl Johnston will join us at 5:30 for Mondays with the Moose. Let's talk some college football. Start with the good news. UIW in front of a packed house on a cold, sort of rainy, although the rain stayed away for the most part during the game. A thrilling win over Stephen F. Austin in overtime. 35-28 the final score. Tailgating was a whole lot of fun there at UIW on Saturday. Then the game lived up to all the hype that you would want for a postseason game. Eric Morse and what they've done, Cam Ward, their quarterback, the wide receivers, but their defense had to make a stop and came up with the stop in overtime. Big-time plays. So UIW wins their first ever playoff game. They get their first ever 10-win season as history is being made down there at UIW. They're on to the second round. They get Sam Houston State coming up Saturday in Huntsville. That's going to be a tough one. But what I like about what this UIW team has, I mean, you know, it's cliche, I know. You talk about the fight, the grit, all that kind of stuff. They have that. And Cam Ward has an incredible ability to run and throw the ball. They've got a great run game. But it's going to be their defense put to the test against the Bearcats. Eric Schmidt, the quarterback of Sam Houston State's incredible. Led Sam Houston to the national championship last year. This is basically the same team that UIW saw in the spring last year. And Sam Houston got that win over at Benson Stadium. But they've got a good idea of what they're getting into. They got film on this team. Both teams basically return everybody from the spring, which is incredible how that has all worked out. That should be a fun game Saturday down in Huntsville. UTSA, still a history-making squad. Yeah, they got their butts kicked at North Texas. And we'll talk about that coming up at 6 o'clock when Jeff Traylor joins us. UTSA, it felt like a trap game. And it was a trap game. You go back and you listen to the interview I had with Coach Traylor last Monday. I asked him about the game, and there was some nerves there. There was the idea that, you know, we've got a perfect season that we're playing for. We want to keep them from going bowling. Do you rest guys in a game like this? No, man, we want to go after the perfect season. Problem when you do that and you don't get the win, you can't let one loss turn into two. Because all the excitement after beating UAB the week before needs to be reignited this week as UTSA gets ready to play a really good Western Kentucky team. Now, with that loss to North Texas, UTSA has dropped out of all the polls, which, to drop that far, come on, after one loss with everything that you've been doing. But that's the nature of college football and when you're a program on the rise. But what I like about that is it really is an opportunity for that senior leadership that Jeff Traylor constantly talks about, and for Jeff Traylor to refocus these guys. Because whether they're undefeated or a one-loss team, whatever bowl they were going to go to is still probably going to be that same bowl if they win on Friday in the Conference USA Championship game. They're going to the same bowl whether they have one loss or none. Now, if they end up with two losses, that could change some things. That made them an underdog at home. Now, the line is all over the place for Western Kentucky and UTSA. When I look at the line, I've seen 1.5. I've seen Pick'em. I've seen it there. Western Kentucky is really good. In fact, they haven't lost since UTSA beat them on the road. It is hard to beat a team twice in a season. We see that often. It will be very interesting to see what happens. But I look at UTSA as an opportunity here for Coach Traylor and that senior leadership that he's always talking about to fire up these guys and get ready to go. The Dome should be rocking on Friday night. I don't know where the tickets are going to be. We heard late last week with all that crowdfunding that was going on in San Antonio, all that buzz, all started with a tweet from April and Sierra. They raised close to $100,000. Hell, they might be over $100,000. Those tickets I've seen today are showing up in the students' accounts, which is cool, so you know that it's working, and leftover money is going to help for the bowl game. But I look at that. We've got to get that energy back for Friday night, because it felt like Saturday there was just such a letdown that you can't go limping into the game on Friday night for that championship game. I'm a little worried about Frank Harris. I know he got pulled. Coach generally doesn't pull his quarterback. He has told us that before on this show many times. It's not something that he likes to do, but sometimes you got to protect Frank from Frank. And I get that. I just hope Frank is healthy, because you're going to need Frank in that championship game Friday night. What is the over-under on that, James Pledger? 80?
72.5 last I saw.
72.5. Seems a little low. Take the over. Take the over. Was it 50-something to 40-something when they played out there in Kentucky? Think so. It was, 52-46?
Something like that, yeah. It was over 80.
Yeah, I know we're going to have perfect weather in the Alamo Dome. So the weather issues that UTSA had to deal with, which quite frankly is a concern. Now, I'm not going to break the culture pillar thingamajigger violation. I'm not going to violate any of those by asking Coach about a bowl game when he's on at 6. But we will next Monday, because next Monday we should know where they're going bowling. But I don't like hearing, the weather impacted us in so many negative ways, because most of the bowl games they're going to go play in, the ones they have options are going to be outdoor stadiums and probably crappy weather. I don't know if that's a good idea to sell your team as, man, we can't play, but the weather's bad, because, our passing game was all the different things that he was saying. I was like, yeah, don't say that. I mean, you became one-dimensional because of the weather. They couldn't hang on to the ball. They did a lot of things wrong in a game that didn't matter, and they played like it didn't matter. But you can't let one game ruin everything, because it's still an incredible, incredible season. Mike Finger had a great column in the Express News. And what we saw last week in that win over UAB, and whatever's going to happen this Friday, we'll remember that longer than we'll ever remember what happened against North Texas. North Texas, come on. One game. Undefeated would have been nice. Doesn't matter. In the long run, doesn't mean a damn thing. Lincoln Riley, head coach of USC. Now, we haven't seen officially what his contract is, James Pledger.
Nope.
But there are some tweets out there that basically he's getting $110 million. They're going to buy all of his homes, paying over $500,000, overpaying. And again, in Norman, you're going to overpay. They're buying him a $6 million house in Malibu, so he's going to make all that money and get a free house. I don't know if he'll have to pay his own taxes or if USC will cover that. And he has access 24/7 to the private jet for his family. Pretty good gig. And so when you hear things like, hey, Cliff Kingsbury is the number one option for Oklahoma, you might laugh and say, why would Cliff want that? Because NFL coaches don't make the money that college coaches make. They just don't. Sure, Belichick and Tomlin are 10 or 12 million a year, but you wonder why Mike Tomlin's name gets mentioned in? It's hard to pass up the money in college football. One of the things, Jerry Jones, Lincoln Riley, yeah, I don't want to pay college coach money for our head coach. I think McCarthy gets $4 million a year. I think right now Cliff is about $5 or $5.5 million. It's hard to get college coaches' salaries, especially, or it's hard to get NFL coaches' salaries. college coaches at a public university, that's available to everybody. USC's private, so terms of the deal for Lincoln haven't come out yet. Cliff is also in the final year of his deal there with the Arizona Cardinals. Crazy. He's 9-2, and they haven't extended him yet. So what happens? His name gets floated around, and how does he address the rumors?
Yeah, I was in the movie room off the grid pretty much all day yesterday, so it didn't affect me one bit. And then I really enjoy just the professionalism that these guys approach the game with each and every day, highly motivated, take care of their bodies, study the game. It inspires you to be a better coach and step your game up, because you better come in that meeting room knowing what you're talking about with the level of expertise and trust from those guys, or you'll lose them.
Yeah, Cliff, why not just say I have no interest in the Oklahoma job?
Yeah, I just, like I said, we're in season. We're 9-2. Just not a topic I want to touch on right now.
Because, my agent over there is working the phones right now. Because, I enjoy the professionalism of pro football, boy. You got to show up. You got to be ready, because these guys, they care. How much are they talking about at OU to go recruit? And they're going to the SEC. So I could double my salary and live in Norman. Now, I got a really nice house here in Phoenix. Everybody saw pictures of it during the draft, right? There's some nice houses in Oklahoma, too. There's some really, really nice houses.
The question,
a lot of things you can do. Oh, I got 1 year left on my deal. You want to know why I won't say I'm not interested in the job? Because I got 1 year left on my deal.
Cliff's a Texas dude, though.
Yeah?
Like Texas Tech, New Braunfels Unicorns. Like, he's a Texas guy.
Yeah?
There's a feeling towards Oklahoma from Texas people.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess a whole bunch of zeros will make you forget about that.
$10-12 million a year? You're telling me that he wouldn't take that job? I mean, all of these coaches, all of them. I mean, remember, Cliff got fired at Texas Tech.
Yep.
And now he's in running to be NFL Coach of the Year, right? I mean, if Oklahoma came calling, if LSU came calling, if whatever, you're looking at the dollars there. What I'm looking at is all the Oklahoma kids hitting the transfer portal. You think Caleb Williams ends up at USC? You're damn right he will. Spencer Rattler won't, but he's also in the portal. And big game Bob Stoops is coming in to take him to the bowl game. As a Texas Longhorn fan, I feel for you, OU fans.
Do you?
No, not really.
You sound a little smug.
No, look, I mean, it's just big-time college athletics. Follow the money. I mean, that's what you got to do. Maybe they'll get lucky and get like Tom Herman. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could happen over there at OU. I mean, it's all possible.
You're really enjoying this.
Oklahoma fan. Talking to you, Bob Brown. Remember all those text messages after Texas blew that 38-20 lead? Same feeling. Same feeling.
But he's not going to LSU.
He's not going to LSU. He didn't lie to you. He loses to Oklahoma State, and then gets on a gold private jet and flies out to Los Angeles. You son of a... Yeah. Love college athletics. We'll talk more about it with Peter Burns of the SEC Network. He will join us next after a long holiday weekend. Needed to start my day off with a good breakfast, so I had some of those maple breakfast links from Kia Boss's Smoked Meats. They are so good and now available at select HEB stores. If you haven't tried them, man, you are missing out. These breakfast links are a little sweet, a little savory, totally delicious. Perfect as part of a nice weekend breakfast spread, and they're great for busy weekday mornings. Microwave for about 45 seconds. They're fantastic. They come fully cooked. They're great with a big weekend breakfast spread, or like I said, that quick, easy breakfast on the go. You can find Kia Boss and Maple breakfast links at select HEB stores. If they're not at yours, Tell that grocery manager to get them and then drive to the nearest H-E-B that will have them because it is worth the drive. Make sure you get into H-E-B. Get yourself some kielbasa today. More college football talk coming up with Peter Burns of the SEC Network after James Pledger in Sports Center.
Thanks a lot, Jason. We'll start with the Dallas Cowboys, who have lost 3 of their last 4 and 2 straight following Thanksgiving's 36-33 overtime loss to the Las Vegas Raiders as they look to get back on track this Thursday, but they'll be without Mike McCarthy when they take on the New Orleans Saints as he tested positive for COVID-19 earlier today. Dan Quinn will assume head coaching duties in McCarthy's absence. The Houston Texans fell to 2-9 on the year with a 21-14 loss to the New York Jets. In college football, 2022 4-star running back Trevante Citizen is decommitted from LSU and is reopening his recruitment. Before committing to LSU, he had official visits and interest from Texas, Texas A&M, and Auburn. In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs look to win their second straight as they take on the Wizards tonight after a 96-88 win over the Boston Celtics this weekend. Tip-off for tonight's game against the Wizards is set for 7:30, and Game Night San Antonio will have to get you ready for it tonight on the Blitz. In Major League Baseball, the Texas Rangers had a huge weekend as they've added outfielder Cal Calhoun on a $5.2 million deal, starting pitcher John Gray on a 4-year, $56 million, infielder Marcus Semien on a 7-year, $175 million deal, and Dodger shortstop Corey Seager on a $325 million contract.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Thomas J. Henry Law has more than 2,700 five-star Google reviews from satisfied clients. If you've been injured and need an attorney, don't leave your case to chance. Contact Thomas J. Henry today at tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of DieHard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on DieHard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Want to make this the most unforgettable Christmas? Diamonds Direct is here to help with our most dazzling selection ever and 4 years zero-interest financing. Imagine the look in her eyes opening that box and seeing an elegant diamond tennis bracelet or a stunning pair of diamond earrings. Diamonds Direct showcases are fully stocked with the classics, as well as the latest trendy fashion jewelry from world-class designers. Unique, one-of-a-kind items you can't find anywhere else. And if you need help, our experts will guide you, respecting your price range and offering tips on the can't-miss gifts for this season. You'll get the unbeatable value price Diamonds Direct is known for. Plus, spread your payments over 4 years, 48 whole months with zero interest. This December, give the gift that sends the message of love like nothing else. A beautiful, meaningful, and memorable piece of jewelry from Diamonds Direct. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details, and see our online gift guide at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
Hey, Dallas Cowboy fans, Jason Minix here, letting you know Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys, and San Antonio Sports Star, we're throwing a viewing party for the Cowboys-Saints game this Thursday out at R&J Saloon. We'll start with a live broadcast of the Blitz from 4 to 7, then stick around and watch the Cowboys take on the Saints. Enjoy $2 Miller Lite long necks during the game and register to win some great Miller Lite Dallas Cowboys gear and other great holiday stuff. That's this Thursday, 4 to 7 at R&J Saloon on South Flores.
For the ones who are always in the know. For the ones who keep things running. For the innovators and the problem solvers. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, experienced staff at local branches, and free access to experts to help answer your toughest questions. So whatever challenge you face, we have the knowledge and products to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
The play is in. The Blitz with Jason Minix and Sports Insiders. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when
Well done, James Pledger. If only college football had a little drama, especially this time of year as we get close to December. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Let's talk some college football with the great Peter Burns from the SEC Network, who never has anything to talk about over there on the SEC Network. And you know what? You're not getting a Lincoln Riley to talk about either, as he heads out west to USC, and apparently for crazy, crazy money and lots of extra benefits, man.
Well, I mean, listen, how brilliant is Lincoln Riley, right? I mean, Lincoln could say, all right, I'm going to go in the toughest conference in all of college football, or I can make a boatload more money, go play college football in a much easier conference, get my house paid off for, get private jets. I mean, listen, life is all about, Minix, not working harder. It's about working smarter. And that's what Lincoln Riley just did, taking the USC job.
Well, absolutely. And again, you know, it's say the LSU job. 2 years ago, that coach won a national championship, and now he gets $17 million not to work, right? I don't know how Lincoln's going to fare there in Los Angeles, especially with the media scrutiny and everything. You know, it ain't Norman. But at the same time, I don't blame him. I mean, one, who's offering more money? Two, I rebuild USC. I get this team to the playoffs. I'm recruiting Southern California. My life is a whole lot better. It's the wise move, if you ask me.
Well, I mean, again, I think had Lincoln, behind the scenes, Lincoln was not, from what I understand, not necessarily the happiest a camper that, you know, that he wasn't in on the conversation about Oklahoma joining the SEC. And he wasn't really necessarily in favor of that. Because, again, I mean, listen, the SEC, I mean, Florida just had Dan Mullen go to the SEC championship game last year. Last year he played for the title, and he's already out of a job. And you talked about Ogeron being out 2 years removed. I mean, it's a murderer's row. It's a tough place to coach, and the expectation level, it's just not realistic. I mean, the great thing about USC is that nobody really truly cares about USC football in the city of Los Angeles. And so there's almost less pressure because you're kind of that, you know, fish in the big pond over there. Whereas there's more pressure on USC outside of Los Angeles than there probably actually is. So, again, it's brilliant. He played it perfectly. And now Oklahoma finds himself really kind of scrambling as, you know, they felt their future was bright with Lincoln. What direction do they go next?
Well, and again, you know, Cliff Kingsbury's name is right up there for OU. And I don't know. I think Cliff parlays that into a nice contract extension with the Cardinals. But when you look at the money that college coaches make at these major programs versus NFL coaches, you understand why NFL coaches, when their names are mentioned outside of Mike Tomlin, you don't hear them shutting down the rumors right away just because the money. I mean, in Cliff's case, he could probably double his salary.
Yeah, I mean, that's what that play was. That play was more of an agent deciding, hey, listen, let's get the name out there, and that's what it is. Everyone uses this as leverage at that point. I mean, at the end of the day, the lifestyle of an NFL coach is infinitely better than a college football coach. And the only reason why I say that is college football is 365 days a year, and 366 on a leap year. Right? Like, you're always recruiting. Yep. You're always worrying about the transfer portal. At least for the NFL, there is truly an off season, right? It's all regulated a lot more. So while it's a tougher league, of course, it's a much easier, and I think that's a lot of reason why some of the coaches now look at this and go, man, if I leave tomorrow, I got 15 recruits that can leave tomorrow as well or transfer out. Why do I want to deal with this if I can go make equal amount of money? I mean, look what Matt Rule did. Matt Rule decided to leave Baylor. He could have gotten a bunch of different, college football jobs, and he said, no, I'm going to try to go be the head coach of the Panthers. It's not working out, but he always knows I left on a good note. I could always go get a college job, but this NFL gig doesn't work out.
Absolutely. Peter Burns from the SEC Network joining us here on the Blitz. You look at what happened this weekend in the SEC. Alabama survives. They get to play Georgia now in the SEC championship game. Alabama's an underdog, which they should be. You had a tweet talking about SEC title games, and the underdogs don't win very often, but when they do, they're coached by Nick Saban. What are you expecting to see Saturday at 2:00?
I mean, I'm expecting pain. I mean, and I'm expecting Georgia to rout Alabama. And the reason why is Georgia, as great as 2019 LSU was, they were great offensively, but they were dynamic. Same thing with Alabama last year. They are offensively great. Just flip it on the other side of the ball, and that's how good Georgia's defense. I mean, think about how wide open these offenses have gotten in the last, couple years of college football. And yet what Georgia is doing defensively is out of control. I mean, they're unbelievable. One of the best defenses we've ever seen. Plus, their offense is pretty damn good as well, too. So, I mean, Alabama has one scholarship running back left on the roster right now because Brian Robinson, their star running back, more than likely not going to play. Their right tackle in the right side of that line is a disaster. They can't run the ball. The secondary is bad. They're banged up in other positions. And other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, the play's pretty good, right? I mean, it should be all Georgia. The only thing working for them, obviously, is Bryce Young and just the mental aspect of it seems like Georgia hasn't been able to get over the hump, but they'll cure that on Saturday.
Peter, when I look at what could happen on Saturday, and I expect Georgia to win, Alabama right now is sitting at number 4 in the playoff rankings, right? Would a 2-loss Alabama team make the playoffs over some of the other teams that could be in the mix?
It would have to be like just an absolute back and forth game, like an overtime game, kind of like how you saw in the Iron Bowl, but played a lot better on Alabama's behalf. And you'd have to have Iowa beat Michigan. You'd have to have Houston and Dana and those guys take down Cincinnati. You'd have to probably have Aranda's Baylor Bears take down Oklahoma State. They would need a lot of chaos just because the shine of this Alabama team is not like the shine before, which, again, I heard from Nick Saban this week, and Saban said at halftime of the Iron Bowl, Minix, he told the team, hey, let's just go out and have fun. Like, does that ever sound like something Nick Saban would say? Like, that's the most, like, what? And the reason why, and when I talk to people around Alabama, it's because Nick and himself, they know this team is not great, right? It's not a championship necessarily caliber team, yet everybody assumes that they are because of the jersey on that they wear. So I think Nick has said, listen, stop worrying about everybody trying to compare you to these other teams. Let's go out and have fun. And guess what? They've at least made it this far. I mean, they're a good, solid team. They're not Texas, right? I mean, they're not North Texas. They are a good, solid team. They're just not the traditional, Alabama that we've seen in the past.
Well, and his 4-minute rant during his radio show the other day, because they're not winning pretty enough, was epic. And it kind of tells you the state of where his football program is. And I think the reality that he knows Georgia is the better football team.
Yeah. But guess what? They have Bryce Young. They have that mental edge. And again, I think that's what I think at Alabama sometimes this year they've played tight because they know that they need to be perfect, right? The fan base wants them to be perfect. The coaches want them to chase perfection. And he's like, listen, we may not be great, but if we go out there and play loose football, let's do it. And at least they have a chance. Very much so how LSU played against Texas A&M, right? I mean, LSU had nothing to lose, right? All the pressure was on Jimbo and the Aggies coming into Tiger Stadium. And that's the reason why LSU, I think, ultimately came out with the win because, hey, listen, no pressure. We're fighting for our coach. He's having a good time. Let's throw it all on the wall. And sure enough, they come out with a big victory.
Yeah, they do knock off the Aggies, which was a bit of a surprise. And now LSU has to go find who their coach is going to be, because even Ed Ogeron said, I'm not coaching in the bowl game. We kind of circle back with Lincoln Riley now off to USC. Who's going to be the next head coach at LSU?
For weeks I have said that if I was LSU, I would make Brian Kelly at Notre Dame tell me no 5 times. And people laughed at me. And then sure enough, the reports coming out today, Bruce Feldman just putting it out that LSU is, making a strong offer for Brian Kelly, or a strong push. And again, what LSU needs is stability, right? And so to me, Brian Kelly was high on that list for me, because look at the success he's had over at Notre Dame. And if he could do that at Notre Dame, where, Minix, just the requirements, the admissions to get into that program are super high. What could he do with SEC-related talent, right? Like, they're always coached really well. They always play really well, but they get limited at around 10 wins, 9 wins a season, because they don't have that upper echelon talent. If Brian Kelly had that upper echelon talent combined with his X's and O's, ooh, buddy, watch out, because that could be a force to be reckoned with.
And that's a big enough hire for Scott Woodward, isn't it? I mean, you look at, all the guys that he seems to want to go hire have to have a big name. I've always thought the sneaky good pick would be, get Aranda out of Baylor and back to LSU. I just don't know if that's sexy enough for Scott Woodward.
Yeah, and I also think that Woodward wants to build something his own, right? To go back to the well of what, how he caught lightning. They caught lightning in a bottle in 2019. I think this is about, listen, let's not be a prisoner to that. Let's build something on our own. And again, now everybody's been freaking out about, oh my gosh, who's LSU going to get? They're going to get these guys. If you know Scott Woodward like I know Scott Woodward is a politician. Okay, that's how he was actually a political consultant before he got into athletics. And if you're a political consultant in the state of Louisiana, you know how to work backroom deals. You know how you don't say a word to anybody. And so everybody was freaking out. I'm like, dude, if you got Scott Woodward, you're going to be in good shape. So I as an LSU fan, I'm in Scott, I trust, and I think they'll end up with somebody pretty solid.
Peter Burns of the SEC Network joining us here on the Blitz. Peter, you mentioned what happened to A&M, nothing to play for, LSU, everything to play for. I think the same thing could be said about UTSA and the way they got it handed to them by North Texas the other day. Just an ugly game all around for the Roadrunners. When you talk to all these coaches at these big-time programs, to get your butt kicked one week and then to turn around and have a big game the following week, what kind of task is Jeff Traylor facing this week to reignite that fire within his program?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. One, it's to rehydrate everybody. From what I understand, I think they were pretty flu-stricken out there. From what from what I gather, and Coach Traylor should be able to tell about that more than I can. But I think it's you reset that in the idea of going, this is what happens when you're a successful program, right? Alabama deals with this stuff all the time. Like, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and everybody's been wanting to take that undefeated part from UTSA. It's just not a role that a lot of these guys on this team and the staff have been a part of. It's like, listen, when you bully people around and you all of a sudden are a media darling, guess what? You're everybody's Super Bowl. And for North Texas, that's what the situation was, right? This was to go to a bowl game. This was to ruin the regular season, the perfect season for them. And they caught lightning in a bottle. And so to me, to be able to flip it that quick, to know you're playing for a conference championship, is monstrous. So again, I have no issues in thinking that they won't be able to turn it around. And that's the reason why you're paying him the money that he just got in that extension.
Absolutely. Peter Burns from the SEC Network. Always enjoy it, my friend. Have fun this weekend. Keep your wife under control during that Alabama game.
Trust me, it'll be tough. I'm already going to send her some roses for the beat down that the Bulldogs are going to give them. See ya.
Good stuff. Peter Burns from the SEC Network as he joins us every week here on the Blitz. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, the Moose, Daryl Johnston, 3-time Super Bowl champion, will join us at 5:30 for Mondays with the Moose. But coming up, Spurs, they get a chance to win back-to-back games. They do. If you missed it Friday night, they had an incredible win over Boston. We'll talk about that, set you up for tonight's game against Washington as we continue here on the Blitz. But first, let me tell you about Garageization. If you need an organization solution for your garage, you need to call Garageization, 210-664-4494, especially this time of year, probably over the weekend. You're probably like me, like everybody else, pulling all the Christmas stuff out. So, you could decorate the house. And then you got all those containers and boxes that have to go somewhere, and you don't want to go back in the attic. Now's the time to call Garageization. Talk to them about those overhead racks. They've got great shelves and slat walls, closed storage. I know I had some shelves installed by Garageization to help organize my garage. It is fantastic, everything that they can do. Make your garage functional for the entire family. Don't forget about the garage floor, too. Get that garage floor sealed for more reasons than just to make it look good. Garageization is a better-known company, and since 2008, they've been helping San Antonians love their garage. Call them. Have them give you a customized plan for your garage. It's a Christmas gift for the home, for the entire family. So you'll have all the stuff out of the way, that long-term storage. You'll be able to get the bikes in there, the golf clubs, and both your cars. Call Garageization, 210-664-4494, or go to their website, garageorganizationsanantonio.com. Again, the website, garageorganizationsanantonio.com.
The Dallas Cowboys, the New Orleans Saints. It's going to be a gridiron showdown. Catch all the action Thursday night at 7:20. Sponsored by AA Best Bail Bonds and Ewald Kubota. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Central Builders Incorporated is a family-owned, award-winning general contractor headquartered in San Antonio. Since 1989, CBI has completed over $1 billion in construction projects, including large-scale remodeling, expansions, and ground-up construction. The award-winning CBI has also been recognized by the San Antonio Business Journal as one of the best places to work for the past 4 years, and Central Builders is hiring. Learn more at centralbuilders.net. That's centralbuilders.net.
If your dream vacation doesn't include your spouse, it may be time for a permanent getaway. Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Pulling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
'Tis the season for savings at Mother's Window Tint, your car stereo and auto security headquarters. Save on 3M Window Tint, 100% legal to get your car dark, dark, dark. This is Texas, baby. 'Tis the season for dark window tint. We do tint front windshields. Yes, 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 we do. And it's perfectly legal, too. At Mother's Window Tint, 'tis the season to make your car go thump, thump, thump. Mother thump. Save on car stereos, amplifiers, and speakers. Save on car alarms. Save on remote starters. Stores in Austin and San Antonio. And on the web at motherswindowtint.com. Are you a people person and like cars? Maybe you can join our team. Contact us by Facebook or on our website, motherswindowtint.com. 'Tis the season to remember. Do it at Mothers and save.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with repetition. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's a repetitive ad. Okay. Research shows that people remember radio ads with repetition. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's a repetitive ad. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
More than 1 in 3 people will face cancer in their lifetime. Unfortunately, fear can stop you from getting your cancer screening, but it won't stop cancer. Early detection can save your life. Don't wait for symptoms to appear to act. Cancer screening is safe, effective, and accessible for everyone, including free or low-cost screening programs. Go to cancerscreeninfo.com right now for free screening resources and recommendations from the American Cancer Society. Don't wait. Early detection can save your life. Go to cancerscreeninfo.com today. cancerscreeninfo.com.
Get your college game on. Get ready for the fight songs. It's college football.
Touchdown! What a catch!
Hear it live on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Rudy J on your home for Texas Rangers baseball. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Good to hear from Rudy J. Talking about the Texas Rangers. Them boys are spending money. $500 million they have spent the last couple of days on some players. Maybe they'll be competitive this year. Be the second best team in the state of Texas. I'm glad to see the Rangers are doing something. They are spending money left and right. That is for sure. The San Antonio Spurs, they've got Washington tonight. DeJounte Murray's turning into that dude. Jeff McDonald has an incredible article about DeJounte and his leadership. I mean, it's so good. Even McDonald worked in the McRib. I mean, he's got it all going in this article and what DeJounte has been doing this season. Because coming into the year, we weren't really sure about DeJounte. I didn't know that DeJounte would be here. Quite frankly, when he didn't make the H-E-B commercials, I thought maybe the Spurs said, yeah, he might be a part of a package. Don't put him in there because then those commercials won't be good. He has turned into the Spurs' best player. I thought it was going to be Keldon Johnson. It is not. And DeJounte is turning into that guy that you want to have the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter. And Friday night's game against Boston, that was everything. I mean, Spurs, it looked like a typical Spurs game from this year. They had a lead, and they watched it go away. They were up 24 and blew that lead, but then closed the game on a 15-0 run as they beat Boston 96-88, and DeJounte Murray was a big part of that. I mean, you look at what DeJounte did, had 29 points the other day, and a good amount of those came in that fourth quarter when the Spurs had to get something done. And for Greg Popovich after the game to say, I'm thrilled for them to be able to enjoy this. And I know some people on Twitter were mad that the Spurs lost. Oh, the lottery pick. Oh, screw that. Part of the process of learning how to win is win. Win. You need that winning feeling. They haven't had that in a couple of weeks. Spurs are 5-13. 5-13. But to watch them blow a lead and then fight back and get the win, Spurs needed that. That was good for the Spurs. Now they got Washington tonight. They could win back-to-back games for the first time this season. Be nice for them to have that in their cap before the calendar hits December. This is their last opportunity to do it before that happens. And I'm okay with 6-13. I'm okay with 5-13. Every now and then you have to win. That's part of learning. That's part of the process. But when they were blowing that 24-point lead and then it was gone, they didn't go, well, here we go again. They fought. And then they closed the game strong. Isn't that the development that we've been looking for from this team? Don't we call that the silver and black linings? And they got a win to boot? They didn't just build a big lead and watch it go away and quit. They played to win, and they got it. It was nice to watch on Friday night. Spurs and Wizards tonight down at the AT&T Center. RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com will join us next with lots of Cowboys news to talk about. A coach with COVID, a defensive lineman suspended for throwing a punch after the game. Yeah, we got a lot to get into. Cowboys play on a short week, too, Thursday night against the New Orleans Saints. Let me tell you about Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram truck, part of the Ancira Itonado complex. Very easy for me to tell you about and recommend Ancira because I am a long-time Ancira customer. Through the years, I've bought many vehicles from Ancira, and it's because of their great customer service before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. That is why Ancira has been a great family-run dealership in San Antonio for decades. They're going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with the options and features that you're looking for. They'll give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available. And you know price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram truck. Part of the Ancira Itonado complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner.
San Antonio Sports Star Pro Football Pick'em. Online at sasportsstar.com. Can you pick the perfect matchups all season long? If so, you could win $50,000. Weekly winners score gift cards to Pinkerton's Barbecue and the Mellow Mushroom. For official contest rules and to play, visit sasportsstar.com. Must be at least 21 years old to play this nationwide contest. One winner will be selected at the end of the season. The Pro Football Challenge from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This flu season update is sponsored by Exergen. Do you have the flu? Here's CBS News medical contributor, Dr. David Agus.
The flu classically doesn't have GI symptoms to start and respiratory symptoms. It can, but it doesn't. But they can imitate each other. So the flu classically starts with fever and chills. And then if you have it for more than 3 days, you need to go to your doctor.
The leading sign of COVID is a fever. So everyone needs an accurate thermometer. Try the Exergen temporal scanner and learn more at Exergen.com.
If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, you're paying too much. Switching to Pure Talk saves the average family over $800 a year. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say half off, and you'll save 50% off your first month.
Would you like a cleaning product that can be used in the garage, the laundry, and the kitchen, and save space in your cabinet? Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. To learn more, visit us at simplegreen.com.
Simple Green. Hey, Dallas Cowboy fans, Jason Minix here, letting you know Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys, and San Antonio Sports Star, we're throwing a viewing party for the Cowboys-Saints game this Thursday out at R&J Saloon. We'll start with a live broadcast of the Blitz from 4 to 7, then stick around and watch the Cowboys take on the Saints. Enjoy $2 Miller Lite long necks during the game and register to win some great Miller Lite Dallas Cowboys gear and other great holiday stuff. That's this Thursday, 4 to 7 at R&J Saloon on South Flores.
One team, one mission. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on a Monday after a long holiday weekend. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Some people a little bit more thankful than others because they had new additions to their family, yet they're still showing up for their scheduled appointment, fresh haircut and all. RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com. We'll have to get over to 1911 Cigars and get you one next time I see you in person. Congratulations, sir, on the birth of your son. It's always an exciting time. Get plenty of rest. You're going to need it. And we got to talk some Cowboys, man. From the good news to the bad.
First of all, appreciate the congratulations. Means a lot to come from you. Second of all, yes, fresh haircut. Third of all, not a victory polo Monday, obviously, for the Dallas Cowboys. I would have thought that you would have worn one on behalf of Broel's birth. Pledge dressed up. Look how sharp he is. But you actually dressed down, Jason, wearing a T-shirt. Maybe that's actually some fatherly advice. Like, don't dress up too nice. He's going to spit up, whatever. I see what you're doing here. You're playing chess while we're playing checkers.
I wore my victory polo Monday after the loss on Friday. See, it's the day after the game that you have to wear it. And, you know, I'm wearing a Navy T-shirt today. It was actually the T-shirt underneath the half zip that I was wearing when I was running around. But, you know, once I got home and started doing the show, it's my house is comfortable. So half zip off, T-shirt on. And Pledge, you know, he's going to be taking orders later at a fancy steakhouse about 8 o'clock for the late dinner reservation. So he's dressed up, ready to go to work.
Pledge looks sharp as always. You know, I got to be honest. I think the emotion you described is not discussed often enough by people because I know you, Jason. You are very proud of your half zip collection. And so when you put one on for the day, you're like, this looks sharp. This is a great memory. I hope somebody asks me about this so I can talk about it. And then you get home and you're like, man, it's comfortable in here. Like, I've got to take this off. So, you know, the great talking piece I'm wearing now is rendered useless.
Well, and again, I go find it's in the dirty clothes, but it was the red Army-Navy polo because we're 2 weeks away from being in New York for Army-Navy. Army dropped their uniforms today with what they're going to wear. Navy is going to drop their uniforms tomorrow. And I have a feeling it's going to be Navy Aviation. Yeah. The best one was the different types of ships on the helmets. Like, you know what I've decided?
if they don't wear anything but navy as far as the color, I'm rooting for Army. That's my new rule.
Say that again.
If Navy is wearing any color except for Navy, then I'm rooting for Army to win. So if they're violating the literal principle that is go Navy, I want Army to win.
I will say, if you've been paying attention this year, although Navy did have a big win Saturday over Temple, they're not very good this year. Smart money is going to be on Army. I'm just saying, Army's really good. It pains me to say that, but Army is really good. The Cowboys haven't been really good as of late. They are in a funk. We'll get into a lot of the stuff going on with the Cowboys, with Coach McCarthy missing the game Thursday against the Saints, and the protocols. Tristan Hill just got suspended. But I want to go back and let's go back a couple of weeks. Would you agree Dak Prescott is in a slump? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, and I think when I won Rock the Mic, that was the OG, Romo Dak days. If you didn't like, there were wars fought in the streets, and we have evolved from that point to where I think now the consensus among intelligent people is that Dak is a franchise quarterback. You do run into the occasional numbskull, but if you ever criticize Dak the way you just did, you're painted as what a hater. You're a Romosexual. You don't believe in Dak Prescott. So it's not exactly vogue to vocalize that he is not playing well, but this is arguably the worst 4-game stretch of his career. Even in the win, he had the rushing touchdown, late in the game against the Falcons that I would put up there with some of the more questionable decisions that he's made over the last month.
And I think it's fair. I am a Romosexual, but I am I am a believer in Dak Prescott, but also I can look at my quarterback and say something doesn't seem right with him. He seems off target. There's one pass in particular to Noah Brown where he was sliding. The pass was down and away. Now, granted, he hit you in the hands, dude. Catch the damn ball, but it wasn't a good pass. And a dialed-in Dak Prescott makes that throw easy. And I don't know what it is right now with Dak Prescott, but he seems off with his accuracy, and it's got to be more than just no Amari and no CD.
Yeah, and I think that it's fair to say those things and no Tyron, right? And it's fair, but, if Dak is going to be that guy, and we all fully acknowledge that he is that guy, he's held to a higher standard, right? Like that, the play you mentioned, the two people involved in the play are a 5th-year, 7th-round wide receiver. And granted a 4th-round quarterback, but an elite franchise quarterback being paid among the very elite, somebody who many people regard, rightly so, as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So the onus falls onto Dak Prescott's shoulders. And so I think what's wrong with him, and I know Pledge just ducked out for the audio-only audience, but it goes back to something actually Pledge tipped me off to a few years ago there in the studio, and it was something that Dak said on the Cowboys Hour with Brad Sham and Taylor Stern. He talked about the Golden Corral analogy that John Kitten had taught him, and how some things are about just taking what's in front of you, not waiting in line at Golden Corral for the prime rib at the very end. And it just feels like he's trying to force too many things. Like he's not necessarily shooting for prime rib, but he's like, I'm here, I want the swordfish. I'm here, I want the baby back ribs. And it's like, dude, just take what's in front of you sometimes. Like, especially without Amari, without CD, there's no prime rib to be had. You have to, you're on Survivor. You're Tom Hanks on the island. You got to build a diet out of what's available. And it seems like he hasn't been able to do that the last few weeks.
He hasn't. Now, he has had some throws that, like on the 2-point play, that pass out to the tight end. I mean, that was perfect.
Or the Schultz touchdown. The Schultz touchdown was one of the prettiest throws he's ever made.
But at the same time, it just feels like, I don't want to say he lacks confidence, because I don't think that's fair, and I don't think Dak Prescott lacks confidence. But he seems rushed, or maybe it's a lack of confidence in some of the receivers that are out there. It took him forever to go to Michael Gallup in that game, especially long, and some of that's what the defenses are doing, and that is a byproduct of no Amari Cooper and no CeeDee Lamb. And I think we're finding out real quick why, as good as Cedric Wilson is, he's still a backup. He's good for 10 or 15 plays a game, not 30 plays a game.
Yeah, and I think, that's what's tough. And a lot of people have had some words and said some things about Amari Cooper and his absence over the last 2 weeks. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb, suffered a concussion. What can you do about that? And, For me, it was, the early part of the 2018 season, Dak was awful. And those are some rough days, especially, on the air, on the Blitz, just because so many people didn't believe. And then the Cowboys on October 22nd of that year traded for Amari Cooper, and that changed. And we have long looked, at least I have long looked at that day as not only the day that Amari Cooper arrived, but the day that Dak Prescott became unlocked. I've never necessarily attributed his unlocking specifically to Amari in terms of it being dependent on it. But a lot of people have. A lot of people have said, look at the early parts of 2018. He couldn't make it work. What kind of franchise quarterback is he if he can't do it all on his own? And that's a ridiculous thing to say, but it's, how it goes. And so right now, the last two games are proving to give life to that idea, right? So to give life to the idea that without Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott is not the elite franchise quarterback that we've come and know him to be. And, shocker here, even elite quarterbacks are better with elite wide receivers on the field. But it's tough. It's made those arguments and those conversations a little bit more difficult. And, the Cowboys had earned and Dak had earned, not that Dak needed it, but an enormous benefit of the doubt. And they have spent it all. And they are back down to ground zero here. And that's why I think everyone's triggered. Everybody's emotional. Everybody's feeling these post-Thanksgiving blues, wondering if this is the beginning of the skid.
RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com joining us here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. It would also help if Zeke was 100%, was running the ball a little bit better, and all the other factors that are there. But you look at what's ahead of the Cowboys. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games, Atlanta being the only win, and that was a blowout win. But their 3 losses were to the AFC West. So when you start looking at tiebreakers, it sucks to lose any game. But if you're going to lose to the AFC. You've got New Orleans coming up Thursday night. Then football team Giants, football team Cardinals, Eagles. Stretch run. Everything that the Cowboys want is still right in front of them. And because the Eagles are the Eagles, they couldn't beat the Giants yesterday to even make the NFC East somewhat interesting. So you look down the road and you feel like the Cowboys, if they can get healthy at the right time, which is start playing good football in the month of December, that's what you want going into the playoffs. It starts Thursday night against New Orleans, but COVID has really hit the complex. I'd rather have Mike McCarthy on his couch than, say, Dak Prescott. But I'm very concerned over the next couple of days about getting reports of positive tests. But assuming it stays within the coaching staff and Terrence Steele is the only player and Amari Cooper is able to come back, what do you expect Thursday night, Cowboy Saints?
This is it's a mess. You know what I mean? And it's a mess. It's an organized mess. And I think it's even a mess for like us, right? Like it's a mess for you, Jason. Like you're on till 7. You got to get out. You got to book it. You got to hightail home or to the Roo Pub because the Cowboys are playing. It messes with your week. It messes with your routine when they play on Thursday night. And so it's really awkward. And now you've got all these coaching situations. And yes, Dan Quinn's obviously going to be heading things and he has some experience. I do wonder if, and not to take away from Dan Quinn, but if it had been, I don't know, the Cleveland Browns, would Dan Quinn have been the person chosen? He obviously has an extensive history in the NFC South specifically. But I kind of expect a mess, and I kind of am leaning. I would not take the Cowboys to cover. I don't know, what your preferred outlet is, but our partner at SB Nation is DraftKings Sportsbook, and the Cowboys open to 7-point favorites. I wouldn't touch that. Because like I said, I don't think they have a benefit of the doubt right now. I don't trust them to come out and take care of a subpar team. I think they might, come out slow. I think they might be staggered. I think they might have some whoops-a-daisies. I don't even know that I feel confident in Terrence Steele not playing and therefore Lyle Collins starting. I know a lot of people are just saying, okay, finally the best, combination of tackles is playing. And, I'm in this circle of like, do I trust the coaching staff? Do I not trust the coaching staff? Because if I do trust the coaching staff, this is the same group of people who a week ago decided with healthy options to go with Terrence Steele over Lyle Collins at right tackle on a short week. And so if they're right, then this isn't necessarily a good thing. If they're wrong, then they're wrong. And now I have to worry about their decision-making on a more macro level. So there are a lot of things. I think it would be very difficult for them to have a game where we all wake up on Friday morning saying, everything's fixed, everything's hunky-dory, let's go, football team next Sunday.
RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com, not trusting the Cowboys right now, and for good reason. They've got to re-earn our trust. Now, Demarcus Lawrence is back. That's going to help the defense. I mean, just his presence alone is going to help the defense. And I think the last couple of games have really showed the importance of Randy Gregory, because there are a lot of opportunities where you kind of felt like if there was any kind of a pass rush, that things would be different. And, of course, the Raiders bailed out by penalties, but I try not to blame the refs all the time. But Anthony Brown, geez, come on, dude. But you look at it and you go with D-Law back against who's going to start at quarterback for the Saints? Simeon?
It's probably Taysom Hill. It's
Taysom?
probably going to be Taysom Hill.
All right. I mean, well, it depends, because now Taysom's got a contract that says if he makes more if he plays quarterback, which makes me wonder if he's ever going to play quarterback again. We don't know about Alvin Kamara yet, who for my fantasy team, I need him to play and do well. But at the same time, I look at this Saints offense, and I know it's Sean Payton, but I feel like this is a team that the Cowboys defense could really show something, and Dan Quinn needs to prove something, and hopefully Dan Quinn still has some of that Saint hate from his Atlanta days.
Everything you said has logic to it. In no universe can I sit here and say what a dummy Jason Minix is. However, everything that you just said was also applicable to the Las Vegas Raiders, was it not? Team coming off of 2 straight tough losses against a division rival, another team competing for a wild card spot in the AFC. Head coachless, obviously, the tragedy that happened with Henry Ruggs. I mean, just a rudderless team, rudderless organization, and they showed up to your house on a short week and toyed with you, had fun with you. I mean, wore a cowboy hat in the post game with Tracy Wolfson, eating turkey legs and whatnot. And so I think it's fair, however irrational it is, to be afraid of the narrative. And wouldn't the narrative be, the head coach that the Cowboys have lusted after for so long, and Sean Payton, they have to go against him, ironically, without their head coach and Mike McCarthy, incidentally with a head coach and Dan Quinn, who has squared off against Sean Payton in the past, and lose. I mean, wouldn't it, it was the Thursday after Thanksgiving, if you want to talk about running quarterbacks, that the Cowboys breathed life into Mitchell Trubisky's career as an NFL quarterback. In fact, the very next day, we had some emergency morning blitz sessions because we thought Jason Garrett would be fired. And so, I mean, it would be very characteristic of who I unfortunately have to say they are kind of becoming, to go to New Orleans and to set the Superdome on fire with all these Saints fans having a party, putting themselves back in the NFC, or not NFC East, but NFC playoff mix as a wild card team.
Yeah, I just look at the Cowboys in history. I remember them going down to New Orleans, facing an undefeated Saints team and ruining that for them. I mean, Taysom Hill hadn't played in 2 weeks. He's going to play this week, coming off a bad foot. Let him. I want to know about Alvin Kamara. I think that becomes the difference maker for the Cowboys. And Anthony Brown, he's got 2 seasons worth of pass interferences just from Thanksgiving alone. So he should be able to cover whatever the Saints are rolling out at wide receiver. It's just, to me, I don't want to sound desperate, but if the Cowboys don't beat the Saints on Thursday night, regardless of everything they've got going on right now, assuming the starters are available, the Cowboys starters that we're not going Cooper Rush because of COVID and all that kind of stuff. This Cowboy team, if we're the team that we think they are, they bounce back from Thanksgiving and they go kick the crap out of the Saints.
Again, I agree with you, but I think that was also true. I think we had those same conversations a week ago today, right? If this is truly the team we think they are, they shake off the loss in Kansas City. They acknowledge, they were on the road, tough environment, Mahomes, blah, 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 whatever. And they beat the Raiders on a short. And that's the thing, the short week is not a surprise to the Cowboys. They're not stunned by playing on Thanksgiving. They get owned in it, but I mean, this is, and interestingly enough, they generally, more often than not, lose on Thanksgiving, but they do tend to somewhat respond, that Chicago game aside, the Thursday after. We've seen the Cowboys go to Minnesota and win. We've seen them beat New Orleans. Granted, that game was at AT&T Stadium. You mentioned the undefeated Saints in 2009. That was in New Orleans. They also beat the undefeated Saints in 2018 at AT&T Stadium, back when Jalen Smith was awesome. And so, I mean, it's scarier than it should be. But you're right. I mean, would I be floored if the Cowboys found a way to show up there and have their way with them? No. Would I be happy if they did? Yes. Would I act like it was the biggest win of the season? Totally. Would I be lying? Probably. But would I also be surprised if they lost and continued this skid? No. And then I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles lost to the Jets to keep them further alive. That's just kind of the way this thing goes. It's a roller coaster of emotions. You lose one day, you hate football, you don't want to hear anything, except you always listen to the Blitz, of course. And then you win and you're back in it, baby.
He is RJ Ochoa. Nothing surprises him. Nothing surprises him, apparently. He's lying, too. But you know, that's the crazy thing about this. The Cowboys, in a lot of ways, are the NFL season. Every week, there's some team loses, and you go, how the hell did that happen? Right? I mean, there's been so much of that this year. The parity that Roger Goodell in the NFL wants, I think in a lot of ways, we are seeing it. You know, the Jets in the Texans game. Sorry, Baltimore. Clay. What did Lamar throw up 4 interceptions yesterday, and they still win? I mean, it's just bizarre. You look at, you know, Tennessee, 1 week can look great, and then the next week, Ryan Tannehill throws for 92 yards. It makes no sense, which is why we love it.
It's funny. You mentioned Lamar Jackson throwing 4 interceptions, the Ravens winning. Baltimore was the first team to win with a quarterback throwing at least 4 interceptions since the Seattle Seahawks against the Green Bay Packers, led by Mike McCarthy, in the 2014 NFC Championship game, the game that they got to because Gene Steratore incorrectly decided that Dez Bryant did not catch it, when we all know that Dez heroically leapt up and caught it at Lambeau Field. And you're right. I mean, anything can happen. And that's why, you know, it's uneasy to say, all right, New Orleans, Washington, New York, Washington, Arizona, whatever, Philly, Cowboys should win 5 of their final 6. You really think that? Like, you really going to bet on, like, consistency for anybody, especially the Cowboys right now? I mean, would you be stunned if, you know, that Washington, New York, Washington stretch, those 3 in a row, if they lost one, if things got sticky, you know, they have 3 road games coming up at New Orleans, at Washington, at New York. I mean, you taking them in all 3 of those?
I don't know. I'll let you know. I'll let you know how this first one goes. I mean, but that's the crazy thing. Like right now, if I were to say, yeah, I would say yes. I would take them. I would take. I don't know what the spreads are. I wouldn't put your money down on it. But am I going to pick the Cowboys to win every game except for maybe the Arizona game right now? I would. I think they're the better football team. They've got to start playing like it. They've got to get Zeke healthy because I think that's a key. And you get Demarcus Lawrence back. You get Randy Gregory back. You get Neville Gallimore back. It's nice to know the cavalry is coming.
Yeah, and theoretically that makes sense, right? You know, and Tristan Hill now, you know, will come back in 2 weeks. Hopefully, you know, hopefully you start to peak, right? Like that's this, and everybody says, look at the Buccaneers last year. You can find a team from any year to fit the narrative you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the difference is this year, I think a lot of Cowboy fans actually believe they have a chance to make a legitimate playoff run because of the roster that they have put together, and Jerry Jones should get a lot of credit for that. And we've seen them when they are hitting on all cylinders. They are a fun team to watch. But if one is not working right, man, it's like having a Ferrari and you live in Seattle and it's raining 300 days a year and you can't take it out of the garage.
I think that's a good analogy. I don't know who would ever want to live in Seattle personally, but I will ask you this,
Me neither.
Jason, or I'll tell you this. I don't know if you know. Then I told you the next 3 games are on the road for the Cowboys, but the next 2 at New Orleans and next Washington will feature the Dallas Cowboys wearing their Navy jerseys. How do you feel about this?
I am not a subscriber of the blue jersey jinx anymore. I used to be. See, Bob Lilly told me one time it was real because in the old days the fabric, it was so hot. And
those weren't Navy, to be fair. Like if we're being literal here.
But the way the jerseys are now and the way the Cowboys have been for the last 20 years, hell, I think I've got a 20-year-old ornament on my tree that just got put up. We put it up again.
Oh, that was so sad on your Instagram story, dude. That made me so sad.
I mean, you know, I've had that thing for 20 years. Santa, all I want. I've been good. All that crap, just the Cowboys Super Bowl. It's all I want.
You've been good. Sure.
Ironically, Christine Lacey from ESPN, she has the same ornament, but for the Buffalo Bills. I guess they made that for every team, not just Cowboy fans. So I look at this, and you sit there and you say, this team legitimately has the opportunity to actually get it done this year. And that's different than in a lot of years where we hoped. This year, I think we can.
Well, I think we can. I think it's fair. I think it's scary, but I think that's what makes it fun. I also think that even if the Naval Academy doesn't, the Dallas Cowboys at least have enough pride and honor to wear the color Navy, which is exciting with regards to their uniform choice.
And the Cowboys have proven they can lose and win in the blue jersey and the white jersey. Over the last 20 years, they've lost in just about everything. So I don't know. I'm not a subscriber of the blue jersey jinx, especially in December, because it started because it was hot. And so other teams wanted the Cowboys in those blue jerseys to make them sweat like pigs. And that's what Bob Lilly had told me. Then Bob Lilly told me he does not believe in the blue jersey jinx anymore. Therefore, I do not believe in the blue jersey jinx.
I think that's well said. I think you could run for governor, and I would vote for you, Jason, the next time.
Apparently Matthew is not. So, I mean, there's an opening.
Right. I have one final question for you, and it's the most important one, which is why I've actually two. My first one, the less important one, is the cigars you mentioned for the birth of my son. Will they be purchased or will they be Ray Lewis's?
They will be purchased, but I can purchase you the Ray Lewis Rocky Patel. They sell them over there at 1911 Cigars. Is that the one you want?
I mean, I'm just saying, I want everything above board, because I know sometimes you have a history. That's all I'm saying. Again,
you have one of those. Time. You probably never even smoked it, just in case.
Yeah, I was terrified. My second question, again, the most important question I've asked you today: did you buy your Spider-Man No Way Home tickets?
I don't know what you speak of.
That's a lie. That's a lie, Jason. I know you're going with Pledge. You're dressing up. Pledge is going to be Venom. You're going to be Spider-Man. Rob's going to be Green Goblin, obviously. I mean, it's going to be a Blitz and, whole station party there at, the theater up there by the old Casa.
I don't know what you're talking about. Is there another Spider-Man movie coming out? I mean, because we're just coming back off of Ghostbusters, which I haven't seen yet.
Oh, wow. We have so much work to do, Jason. I mean, so much work. I did want to take this opportunity to say I finished watching Loki, and it was fantastic.
You've been a dad now for a week. Your days of going to the movies to see what you want to see are long over.
I will say this.
Just realize that.
I told this to Rob and Michael earlier. I did not realize how dangerous the earth was. Everything is dangerous. Everything presents, potential harm to my child. Why have we been living this way? Why are there ever corners on any piece of furniture? Why have we not rounded every single thing that exists on this planet?
Oh, because the people that sell all the baby-proofing stuff wouldn't have a job if that were the case. RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com. Always appreciate it, my friend, and congrats to you and Kimmy on the birth of your son. You want the best water quality for your family, especially if you've got a brand new baby at the house. Jason Minnick's here for Alamo Water Softeners. I've had a water softener from Alamo Water Softeners for over a decade. Wouldn't live without one. Go to alamowatersofteners.com right now because they're offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. Take advantage of this same as cash offer on a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. And you can get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, a +1 filter, and a reverse osmosis system. Whether you're in an older home or a new build, schedule one of their whole home specialists to come out to your house for a free water analysis and a customized plan for your home, and take advantage of bundle pricing and 0% interest for 2 years. Do like I've done. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com. The Moose, Daryl Johnston, joins us next right after Sports Center from James Fletcher.
Thanks a lot, Jason. We'll start off in Major League Baseball where the Rangers had a big weekend that continued into today as they have now added Dodgers shortstop Corey Seager on a 10-year, $325 million deal to go along with the additions of outfielder Cole Calhoun on a 1-year, $5.2 million deal, starting pitcher John Gray's 4-year, $56 million deal, and infielder Marcus Simeon's 7-year, $175 million deal. The 27-year-old Seager hit .306 with 16 home runs and 57 RBI last season with the Dodgers. Calhoun had 5 homers and 17 RBI in 51 games for the Diamondbacks. Gray, formerly of the Rockets and a former number 3 overall pick, went 53-49 with a 4.59 ERA, while the 31-year-old Marcus Semien finished third in the AL MVP voting this year and hit .265 with 45 homers and 102 RBI. The Dallas Cowboys, who have lost 3 of their last 4 and 2 straight following Thanksgiving's 36-33 loss to the Raiders in overtime, look to get back on track Thursday against the Saints, but they'll be without head coach Mike McCarthy, who tested positive for COVID-19. Dan Quinn will assume the coaching duties. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Amy, I just sell my car, but there's so many choices out there. What should I do?
Why not try CarZeus? We do things differently here. You get to talk to really nice people via phone call or text message. And because your time is valuable, we are by appointment only. Most people walk out in under an hour with cash in hand. Also, if you have an offer from the other guys, we'll do our best to compete and keep your business local.
What's the catch?
No catch. Just go to CarZeus.com. That's CarZeus.com. Answer a few questions about your vehicle, and we'll take it from there. CarZeus, where you, your time, and money are valuable.
Jason Minix here for Garageization. You've heard me tell you about their shelving, overhead racks, and storage systems to make your garage functional for the entire family. If you have issues with your garage, call 210-664-4494. Have them come out and give you a free consultation. Garageization couldn't be a better choice. A veteran family-owned and operated business for more than a decade. Give them a call at 210-664-4494 or go to the website garageorganizationsanantonio.com.
O'Reilly. Get ready for winter weather and save money at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stay safe by replacing your old wiper blades with a new pair of Bosch Icon wiper blades and save $8 now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. We'll even install them for you for free. The holiday gift guide is here with something for everyone on your list. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get access. Well, not anymore, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month and no contract. Plus, get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Unjoke your sleep at Mattress Firm's Cyber Week sale and wake up a better you. Shop in-store or online and save up to $500 when you get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base with qualifying Sealy purchase up to a $499 value. Or save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic, the most highly recommended bed in America. And you can shop with confidence thanks to our low price guarantee. Unjunk your sleep, only at Mattress Firm. Offer valid with qualifying purchase. Restrictions apply. See details at mattressfirm.com.
Get the latest on what's happening on the NBA hardwood.
Behind the back dribble to the rim and the flush.
Right here on San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250. 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN AM 1250. 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along here on a Monday afternoon after a long holiday weekend. Time for Mondays with the Moose. 3-time Super Bowl champion Daryl Johnston now with Fox Sports joining us now. And Daryl, man, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving and the Cowboys game didn't turn too much of your day into a bad one.
No, it was a nice day. It was a nice day. Could have ended better, but it was still enjoyable. Frustrating. It's weird, even as a fan now. It's hard. It's hard to watch games slip through your team's fingers. So, yeah, a little bit disappointing at the end.
Well, and I look at this. This is one of the great, because you played, you're an executive, you call games on TV. Your knowledge, especially with the Cowboys, is incredible. And you look at that game, and they've now lost 3 of 4. And we try not to blame officials too much, but you and I have talked this year about some officiating calls. But my goodness, that was a flag fest. So many people tuning in. That can't be what Roger Goodell and the TV executives want, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all. And with a game like that, you want the officials to be out of that as much as possible. And then you kind of, you read into the history of the Sean Hockley crew. I think their record was 8-2 in favor of the road teams coming into that game. I think they were number 4 in terms of calling penalties. So you'd like for him to stay out of it. And the hard part for me was, at the game, you watch those pass interference calls, and you were getting really frustrated. And I thought I was getting frustrated because they didn't look egregious in real time. But when you go back and you watch it in slow motion, and I'm sure the fans at home watching on television, probably got that from Troy or from Tony and Jim as they were looking at it. But when I went back and looked at it on film, the standard of the rule is there. The one that was hard for me is the one, in overtime, because I know they don't like to say this, but the standard of the rule goes up higher. Especially that position in the field, because you're basically giving one of the teams an opportunity for a victory, and you never want the officials to play a role in that. But even that one. Anthony Brown was not getting his head around. He was not locating the football. If you get your head around and you're trying to locate the football, they'll allow you to have some of that contact, and especially on that last one. I mean, if he gets his head around that the contact that is there is going to be permissible, in my opinion, in that situation. So, as upset as I was at the game in real time, when I went back and looked at it, I could justify it a little bit more. But still, it doesn't make anything better. The big one for me is, if we're struggling in that situation with one-on-ones, if we're calling those types of defenses in situations on third down, sometimes third and long, maybe we need to just adjust the approach. So it'll be interesting to see, what Dan Quinn does against the Saints in that situation, and maybe, defends in a little different manner, because Anthony Brown was struggling that day. And the one thing you want to do is kind of help him out. And maybe all of a sudden, instead of back to the ball, we've got eyes on the quarterback in those situations, and change it up a little bit.
Yeah, because, you look at the Cowboys have now lost 3 of 4. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet. But at the same time, I think it's fair to say Dak Prescott is in a bit of a slump. When your leader, when your quarterback is struggling, his accuracy seems a little bit off. What do you do as a teammate or as a coaching staff to get your quarterback back on track? Because if he's on track, I think everything else runs smoothly.
Yeah, I think the guys just have to start making some of the tougher catches. The beginning of the season, he was playing lights out, and everything was easy. The footballs were, if it was a little off, it was back shoulder. It was a little out in front. It was down in the waist. Now we're down on the knees. We're out in front and low, which is one of the more difficult catches. We're a little bit too far behind, where we've got to really kind of stop our momentum and make an adjustment there. So I think for the guys, just continue to focus on your craft. Know that Dak is doing everything he can to work himself out of this slump, and just take care of what your role is in the offense. And that is catching some difficult footballs that are thrown to you. And all of a sudden his confidence will start to build, and he'll the ball will be in a little bit better position on the, later in the game. So, focus on what you can concentrate on and what you can improve on, and let Dak do the same, because he's doing everything he possibly can to work himself out of this little slump.
When you think about just the game on Thursday, on Thanksgiving, the 36-33 loss to the Raiders in overtime, Zeke clearly doesn't look 100%, but as a team, they only ran it 20 times. Zeke had 9 carries, Pollard had 10, yet you threw 47 pass attempts in a game that was relatively close. Because Zeke's injury, I suppose, did they abandon the run too early? Do you kind of feel like they should have tried to stay committed to the run a little bit longer?
Oh, absolutely. Trying to get our head coaching staff together for the USFL and just reaching out to all my contacts. I had a conversation with Dick Vermeil today, and he honestly, this is amazing, Jason. He had just broken this stat down last week, and he did his benchmark was 40. So he did 40 plus pass attempts and then 39 or fewer pass attempts. And he did quarterbacks records in those types of games. And there's very few quarterbacks, in the NFL that are going to win a game when you're throwing the ball 40 plus times. And it's who you would think. It's Mahomes. It's Brady. It's guys that not only, maybe the experience and the athleticism and the supporting cast, but kind of that style of offense too. It's how that team is built. If Dallas really wants to harken back to the days when they were running the football and controlling the clock, we've seen that work. We're watching San Francisco do it this year with Jimmy Garoppolo to just lessen the burden. And as we're talking about Dak Prescott in that slump, one of the things that maybe not the guys on the field can do to help him, but what Kellen Moore can do to help him is not take him up into the 40s throwing the football. But that win-loss percentage, once you go above 40, is dramatic for your normal quarterbacks. It's just your elite guys that are in those systems where they're functioning, kind of in a similar win-loss percentage. So I absolutely agree with that. And to add on to that right now, to see Ezekiel, kind of fighting through this, to know that he's a tough guy and wants to be on the field. This was, I always thought it was a little bit more severe when it first happened. It didn't look good to me when he first did it. You can tell it's impacting him. I think right now you're leaning on Tony Pollard, a little bit more, and you let Zeke get healthy. Maybe not even leaning on Tony, but maybe, he's a healthy scratch one game, and you bring Corey Clement in as your changeup. It's a little bit different. It's not the physical style that Zeke has. It's more similar to Tony, but just to give him a little bit of time, to kind of heal up as you're getting ready to get into this December push towards the playoffs.
It's going to be interesting to see Thursday night, Cowboys and Saints. Not a short week since it's Thursday to Thursday, but a lot of stuff going on there at the Star that's making it a different week with the COVID outbreak within the facility. Now Mike McCarthy is going to miss the game because he has tested positive. The fact that they're going Dan Quinn as the acting head coach as opposed to Jim Fossil, and I say that I thought it would be Fossil because special teams coach, let him do that. Let your offensive defensive coordinator stay doing what they're doing. Are you surprised that they're going to bring Coach Quinn out of the booth and down on the sidelines to be the acting head coach Thursday?
I think that's the big thing, that he's coming out of the booth down to the sideline. And it was one of the things that I had talked to Coach Quinn about in preseason. And, he referenced, back to Pete Carroll, when he made that transition as a defensive coordinator. And he just said the vision from above, you see it more, you can anticipate things, you're much better on your next snap. You just seem to be at a better pace when you're seeing everything from up above. Down on the sideline, you have the interaction with the players and you can look into their eyes and you can kind of see how they're doing. But I think that also distracts from your ability to stay ahead of the snap. So I think that'll be the biggest challenge for Dan Quinn coming down to the sideline to be the head coach and controlling all three phases of the game. It's just going to be a different perspective from him as the coordinator. I think because of his experience in the past and being comfortable with it and having done it for a long time, I think that's probably why Mike leans that way. If he doesn't have somebody like Dan Quinn as his defensive coordinator in that position, it probably does go to John Fossil. You see a lot of coaches do that. I mean, you see Rich Bisaccia as the interim head coach with the Raiders now as a special teams head coach. So that's definitely, something that happens in the NFL. But I just think Dan's experience that he's had as a head coach down in Atlanta, is going to be the difference in that decision. But I think the big question for Dan is going to be how comfortable is he down there now, after 12 weeks of being up in the booth, calling it from a higher perspective.
It's going to be interesting. Daryl Johnston, the Moose, joining us here on the Blitz. You look at 3 or 4 losses. You got the Saints, Washington, New York, Washington, Arizona, Philadelphia to close out the season. Everything the Cowboys want is still very much in play, especially since the Eagles just don't seem to want to make it an interesting NFC East race after they lost yesterday to the Giants. How do you rally the troops and turn things around? On the outside, it looks like, man, it's not panic button time yet, but we're getting close to that. What's it like in that locker room right now with the guys as they look at the upcoming schedule that as we hit December?
Yeah, it's strange, but a lot of it becomes kind of football cliche, Jason. And you hit on one of the big ones right there is, it's not time to push the panic button. Everything we wanted to accomplish this season is still within our grasp. And I do like, that saying that you stay in control of your own destiny. You don't have to rely on another team to help you get into the playoffs. You don't have to rely on another team to help you win your division. So everything that Dallas set out to do this season is well within their grasp, is within control of their own performance down the stretch. Has it been a tough month? Yes, it has. As you pointed out, you've lost 3 out of your last 4. You're not playing football as well as you were in October, and that's a disappointing thing. So, what is wrong? How can we fix this? And you just continue to grind, and then you get into some of the cliche speak where, hey, we're going to flush that game. We're not going to worry about it. We're on to the next opponent. And it's frustrating for me because, as a broadcaster, when you get those messages from the coaches or the players that you have in your production meeting, you're looking for some kind of a nugget. You're looking for something that you can work with during the course of the broadcast. But then I'll sit back and reflect and I'll be like, yeah, but it's kind of an easy way to say all the little things that are going on behind the scenes. So, if you were to take one, we're on to our next opponent. Well, that's the easy way of saying everything that you've done to get to that point. You've watched the film, you've looked at what you did well, you've made a point of where you struggled a little bit, and there's so much more that goes into it. So the cliches that come out, just for everybody to know that there's a ton of work that's underneath that quick little phrase that coaches and players will throw out there, and that's one of the things that I've kind of over the years have kind of grown to understand when coaches say that. And I'll just say, so what you're saying is this. And you say, well, yeah, you understand that part. So I know it gets frustrating for us sometimes when we're on the outside, but there's a lot of work being done underneath those cliches.
Yeah, very true. Although one that I certainly is loud and clear from Dak today, that's a pissed off group. And hopefully they go into New Orleans angry and they play angry and, come out with a win and try to get things turned around. Daryl, you mentioned, and I know we're up against the time law, talking to Dick Vermeil today with your new job, an additional job with Fox, with the USFL, which is coming back. You're talking to all the coaches, and you're seeing all these college coaches right now move. Lincoln Riley leaving Oklahoma and going to USC for, if you believe the reports, $110 million, a $6 million home that they're going to buy. All this crazy money in college football. Cliff Kingsbury's name is mentioned for the OU job. And you look at the money that college coaches make versus NFL coaches. At what point do NFL coaches start making college football coaches money across the board?
Well, there's a few that are trending that way. I think that this has been something that's been going on for a while. I think really, Nick Saban was kind of the first guy that had that opportunity where, early on in his return back to Alabama after he left the Dolphins and then started to have some of that success again. I think that Nick Saban was probably the highest paid coach in the country in the game of football, NFL and college football combined. You mentioned, the contracts to Lincoln Riley out in USC, but Mel Tucker at Michigan State has got a 10-year contract. It seems to be, I get you because you want that consistency, but, the NFL is a win now mentality. I think for guys that would be intrigued to come into the college game, dropping down from the professional game, maybe it's a little bit more job security. along with the salaries, because in the NFL, you may have a contract, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have your whole time there to get that program turned around, where I think there's a little bit more patience, at the collegiate level, to stay with some of these coaches. So they really haven't gotten to that point yet where the NFL is now. And we've seen it move from, kind of the head coaching position to the potential starting quarterback position, where they are no longer waiting, to see if this is going to work over 4 years, 5 years. If you're not seeing some really positive growth in the direction that organization wants to go at the NFL level in year 3, you are definitely on the hot seat. So I think that not only the salaries, but maybe some of the stability that's provided at the collegiate level would be intriguing to some of the coaches.
Yeah, and then I also look at Cliff. He's got 1 year left on his deal at Arizona. It's a good way to get that contract extension now, isn't it? 9-2, and Oklahoma wants me.
Yeah, right. A little bit of leverage right there. Hey, just got a phone call from the people at Oklahoma. They've had a pretty good offer on the table for me. Maybe we should extend.
I like good and red.
You've got the opportunity to use some leverage. Definitely.
That's what it is. Daryl Johnston, the Moose. Always appreciate it, my friend. We'll talk next week.
You got it, Jason. Take care.
Mondays with the Moose, 3-time Super Bowl champion Daryl Johnston, as he joins us every Monday to talk some Cowboys and the NFL in general. Jeff Traylor, head coach of UTSA. He will join us coming up in about 10 minutes from right now. Nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, best way to do that is to call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text the word bail to 474747, or you can even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option for stress-free bail bonds is AA Best Bail Bonds, because nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7. Offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. So if you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, in the Valley, anywhere in between, license number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or go online at mybestbailbonds.com.
2 teams, 22 players, and over 100,000 screaming maniacs. Your home for Cowboys football on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
If you're having any issues at the house with your plumbing, your heater, your AC, there's one company to call. That's Quarter Moon at 210-651-5899, especially a day like today. You might have woke up in the middle of the night, put on the heater, then you needed your AC by the afternoon. If you're having an issue with either or your plumbing, Quarter Moon will take care of you. They're big job, small job, residential or commercial. Their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job. And at Quarter Moon, they do not have commissioned sales reps. They'll provide estimates and second opinions, and they have a great experienced staff that has earned an A-plus ranking with the Better Business Bureau. Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC, 210-651-5899, or online, quartermoonplumbing.com.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Score points with some of the boldest keto-friendly, protein-packed, and low-carb snacks out there. And with their new Southern Recipe Small Batch 6-bag variety pack, you'll get to choose a different flavored pork rind every time. Find Southern Recipe Small Batch at your local H-E-B, and you'll always have pork rinds ready to go. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Be big, be bold, be adventurous.
Southern Recipe Pork Rinds.
500,000 businesses connect using Zoom, a single platform for video, phone, chat, and conference rooms. Zoom enables real-time collaboration no matter where your teams are. Global enterprises trust the easy-to-use, reliable, and secure Zoom platform to power high-performance teams. Empower your workforce with Zoom. Save 15% on meetings, chat, and phone with a Zoom United bundle. Visit zoom.com/bundle. Zoom, how the world connects.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Hey, Dallas Cowboy fans, Jason Minix here, letting you know Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys, and San Antonio Sports Star, we're throwing a viewing party for the Cowboys-Saints game this Thursday out at R&J Saloon. We'll start with a live broadcast of the Blitz from 4 to 7, then stick around and watch the Cowboys take on the Saints. Enjoy $2 Miller Lite long necks during the game and register to win some great Miller Lite Dallas Cowboys gear and other great holiday stuff. That's this Thursday, 4 to 7 at R&J Saloon on South Flores.
If it's rim wrecking board busting action you want, then come and get it.
Catching a right-hand dunk.
The greatest ballers on earth are doing their thing on the hard court, and we bring it to you. Catch the action on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Greeny on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Expect to see some birds. Photos of birds at sasportstar.com. Upload your photos. Grilling with the Blitz. Every Thursday we give away that $50 gift card to Tri-County Meat Market. You didn't have to smoke it. If you fried it, I saw somebody, I got to figure out how to do it because it was a TikTok video that a friend sent me, and then I ended up some down rabbit hole that TikTok keeps rolling you through. But he started the turkey smoking it and then put it in the deep fryer. So it was half smoked and then deep fried. And I want to know how that was done, like the timing of how to do something like that. But again, if you did some grilling this weekend, whether it's bird or not, sasportstar.com, Grilling with the Blitz. We'll give away that $50 gift card on Thursday.
I had non-traditional, big, thick tomahawk steak with shrimp.
Sounds fantastic.
Because that's what Mama wanted.
So your mama's got great taste. I had a traditional turkey. It was butterball. It was good at my mom's house. One turkey sandwich and we were done. You know, the beauty of going to your mom's house and having a brother that loves leftovers is you don't get a whole lot of them. And that's just fine with me. You know, Trans-Siberian Orchestra is coming to the AT&T Center. You can win a pair of tickets all week. It's going to be Friday, December 10th out at the AT&T Center. We're giving away tickets on R&R in the morning, on halftime, on the Blitz all week long. Pledge, we got a pair of tickets to give away today?
Yeah, we do.
Are we giving away today? We got a pair of tickets. They are going to caller number 11 at 656-ESPN, 656-3776. Caller 11, you win a pair of tickets to go to Trans-Siberian Orchestra December 10th out at the AT&T Center. Jeff Traylor joins us next here on the Blitz. But first, let me tell you about Alamo Water Softeners. You know you want to have the best water quality for your family. Go to alamowatersofteners.com right now. Schedule one of their whole home specialists to come out to your house for a free water analysis and customized recommendations for your home. And right now at Alamo Water Softeners, they're offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. And you can get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, a +1 filter, and a reverse osmosis system. Now is the time to take advantage of bundle pricing and 0% interest for 2 years with approved credit. It's the same as cash offer on a water treatment bundle that will give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Here we go. The Dallas Cowboys live here all season long. Every snap.
I love it.
Every catch.
Let's go have a day, huh?
Every touchdown. Plus, we'll give you the complete breakdown and preview of every game from our experts. Dallas Cowboys insiders and head coach Mike McCarthy. We're all fans.
Yeah! Yeah!
Hear the call from Brad Sham and the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
'Tis the season for savings at Mother's Window Tint, your car stereo and auto security headquarters. Save on 3M Window Tint, 100% legal to get your car dark, dark, dark. This is Texas, baby. 'Tis the season for dark window tint. We do tint front windshields. Yes, 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 we do. And it's perfectly legal, too. At Mother's Window Tint, 'tis the season to make your car go thump, thump, thump. Mother thump. Save on car stereos, amplifiers, and speakers. Save on car alarms. Save on remote starters. Stores in Austin and San Antonio. And on the web at motherswindowtint.com. Are you a people person and like cars? Maybe you can join our team. Contact us by Facebook or on our website, motherswindowtint.com. 'Tis the season to remember. Do it at Mothers and save.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
There's no gift that's more beautiful, more versatile, and more meaningful than a beautiful piece of jewelry. And there's no better place to shop than Diamonds Direct, where making memorable moments is our specialty. This holiday season, we've put together our most impressive selection of can't-miss gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands for every taste and every price range. And to make it easier to splurge this season, we're offering 4 years, zero-interest financing on any holiday purchase. So that $5,000 Eternity Band is just over $100 a month. And that $10,000 designer diamond ring, just around $200 a month. With this special offer, everything's affordable. So come to Diamonds Direct. Let our experts help you choose that perfect headliner gift for this holiday season. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details, and see our online gift guide at diamondsdirect.com on approved credit. Official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys at the shops at La Cantera.
Live, local, loud. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on a Monday afternoon. Big week for the UTSA Roadrunners in the Dome. Friday night, the Conference USA Championship game. Let's talk about it with the head coach of the UTSA Roadrunners, Jeff Traylor, joining us now, powered by Pinkerton's Barbecue. Coach, before we get into Friday, after what happened Saturday, what was it like being around your team Sunday and Monday?
Obviously, they weren't happy, but they're a mature group of kids, and we don't get too high ever, and we don't get too low ever. So, there's only two teams in the country that haven't had to respond to a defeat, and we're fixing to be the third one that has to learn how to do it. So, are we going to let North Texas beat us twice? Or are we going to let them
be a little salt in the wound and make us play a little bit more passionately Friday night.
Well, that's the question. How do you make sure one loss doesn't turn into two? How do you relight that fire?
Well, it starts with our leadership council and our seniors. And obviously I didn't reach them last Saturday, so I've got to find some way to reach them. We're playing a very, very good football team. Arguably the best offense in the country, the best quarterback in the country, some would argue. So we've got our work cut out for us. And I gave the analogy to our team. It looked like a really desperate football team playing a very prosperous football team. And desperate people live differently than prosperous people do. And we were not very desperate Saturday, and that's on the head coach. There's nobody to blame me. I've got to find a way to reach our kids.
You say that as we visit with Jeff Traylor, head football coach at UTSA. I appreciate that. I mean, that as the head coach, your responsibility to get them ready. But at the same time, after the way you guys beat UAB to clinch a spot in the championship game, hard to get up for North Texas outside of trying to protect a perfect season. And they had everything to play for. I mean, it was kind of one of the perfect storm, if you will, going into it. And, you talk about, all the cliches that we've used with UTSA all year, they kind of came there. But at the same time, it's kind of nice to have a little pissed off team going into Friday night.
Well, you used the word perfect storm. I think it was literally and figuratively as well. I mean, that was a great way to describe it. And to not, you just can't go in there when they've already got a chip on their shoulder and then turn the ball over. And then we lost the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, which was just very disappointing. So we're not going to make a soft bed for me or for our players. We've got to find a way to be better Friday night.
You look at Western Kentucky coming in, and I remember when you guys played them the first time, you talked about how tough they were going to be and the fact that they've got a kid that played high school ball in the state of Texas that's one heck of a quarterback. It's tough to beat a team twice in a season. Every high school coach I talk to that might have to play a team a second time in the playoffs, they talk about that. You hear that from the NFL level. It doesn't happen often in college that you get a team that you've got to play for a second time. So how do you approach this week? I mean, clearly you can't just roll out with the same game plan you had the first time you played them.
Well, it's a great question. You probably don't want to give the other team too much credit. We did score 50-something points. So how much do you change?
True.
We didn't stop them very much. So you probably don't want to do that plan. There's a lot of those decisions that are being made right now, Jason, to be very honest with you. I've spoken to, quite a few NFL coaches they have to do this all the time. And there's different ways that people do it and different things. So, what Benjamin Franklin says about common sense, it ain't so common. So I think a little common sense here will go a long ways. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to a bunch of really good players playing against each other. And we have a ton of respect for their offense, but we also feel very good about our defense.
Jeff Traylor joining us here on the Blitz, head football coach of UTSA. You talk about the fire after the UAB game and the excitement around this city. I don't know. Have you heard what the expected attendance is going to be?
I've had my head down. I haven't even looked up. Other than those NFL coaches, you might be the only person, other than some recruits, I've spoken to on the phone today. So I am I'm watching Western Kentucky. They've won 7 games in a row, whatever it is. It's a high number, and they've been scoring over 50 points a game for 2 months now. So we've got our work cut out for us, Jason. I don't know what's even going on in the world right now.
Well, I tell you what, there's lots going on in the world, and it's all around UTSA on a Friday night, packed house. Although I did see on Twitter, Coach, I guess because it's a conference championship game, it's the conference's game while it's a UTSA home game. Like the PA has to be neutral and some of the things like that. So as coach up the fans for a moment. Take 5 minutes, if you will. Coach up the fans on how you need them to act in a neutral, quote unquote, neutral environment Friday night. Because I expect there to be well more than 40,000 in the dome, hopefully more than 50.
Every time that team that Bailey Zappy's quarterbacking back there, fixing to catch that snap, and you see him trying to change plays by communication with his receivers and his line because he's checking to some play, you need to get louder and louder and louder. And every time you see Frank Harris back there fixing to catch a snap, you need to be as quiet as possible. That's about as simple as I can make it right there.
That's what we need. And maybe, signs, because I guess the PA guy can't do what he normally does and do that. It's a Friday night game on a short week, 6 o'clock, national TV. It's exciting that, it's on CBS Sports Network. Is it what challenges, Coach, present playing on a Friday night at 6 versus a traditional Saturday?
We've already got through the worst part of it. Just like the game went, the plane ride back was just as rough. I mean, it was a rough ride back in that weather. The landing was about like the way we played as well. It was rough. But we had a great team meeting that night, kind of put that game to bed. We've already watched it, graded it, had to get a game plan on that Sunday because we practiced this morning. So today is basically Tuesday, but it's Monday. So every day is just pushed up a day. The hard part was the turnaround this morning, but we've already got through that. I expect tomorrow we'll be pretty much back to normal.
And then let's go back, rough plane ride home after a rough game. I know I saw some of your post-game interviews. You talked about it being a mature locker room, but it was very quiet in there. A team meeting, Coach, and I don't want to know what goes on in team meetings. That's you guys and your team. But how did you, I don't know if like is the right word here, Coach, but watching your team deal with a loss and the disappointment of a loss and then try to get back up for it, what are you seeing with your team that might be surprising you at this moment?
Well, first we were just crushed, and I had to be careful not to say too much because I hadn't watched the game yet. But on the plane ride home, I got to watch it on my computer. So by the time I got to get my guys in the team meeting, I had accurate information to give them. So I gave them my assessment of what I thought I saw, and I challenged them pretty good. And I've got just a great group of kids, and I know that no one hurts more than those kids do. That as much as I work and how hard all our staff works and our fans cheer, nobody puts in the time those guys put in. And that's where my heart was at first and foremost, and always will be. I just wondered what I didn't do right. How did I miss that? What could I have done better? And you're just convicted. We're humans. We just don't want to. I want to give my guys the very best plan possible Friday night. And that's all I communicated to them. And I told them I owed them that, and I apologized for not giving them a good plan Saturday. And they owed me to honor the brand of the Triangle. And they gave me their word they were going to live up to their part of the deal, and I gave them my word I was going to do my part. So I have a very mature team, and I expect we'll show up and do our very best Friday night.
And, Coach, having to pull Frank, or not having to, but pulling Frank, I heard your post-game comments. He did not want to come out of that game. And you've told me before you don't like to pull your quarterback, but sometimes you got to protect them. What has your Frank's response been to what happened at North Texas as he gets ready for Western Kentucky on Friday night?
He doesn't like it at all, but I know Frank, and no matter what Frank ever says, Frank always says he's fine. And it was just not a wise decision to keep him in the game. He had just made one of the most miraculous runs I'd ever seen to cut it to 17-13. And then they went 12 plays right down our throat, made it 24-13. Ball slipped out of his hand, made it 31-13. I just didn't think it was wise, knowing we had a championship game on Friday night, to put him back out there. He was devastated, mad, frustrated, but he's very respectful. He's a good young man raised by good people. And Josh is a good quarterback too. So we put Josh out there and tried to protect him. We didn't do a very good job protecting him. And we got our tails kicked, Jason, honestly.
Well, and obviously everybody sees the quarterback. Did you do that with a number of other position players that might not have been noticeable, knowing that you've got the championship game on Friday night when it kind of felt like this one was out of reach and there was no comeback going to happen, just everything was bouncing against you? Get some guys out of there to protect them for Friday night's Conference USA championship game?
The best I could. You got to remember, when you go on the road, you can only travel so many players, so you don't have your full roster. So I was kind of hamstrung in certain positions, but we did our best to get them out. You have to also be careful when you start doing that. You know, you mass up too many people, you'll get more kids hurt, because there'll be such a difference in talent level on the field that you'll get some other guys injured. It's a fine line to be in. I hope it's a position I'm never in again as far as being behind. I hope the next time I'm in that position, we're ahead going into a championship game, trying to rest kids, not getting my teeth kicked in trying to rest them.
Fair enough. Coach, I know you wanted the perfect season, but everything you guys have worked for is still right in front of you. And the excitement level that we all felt after the win over UAB is going to be in the Dome on Friday night. And I can't wait to see your guys bring the extra juice Friday night in the Dome. Coach, this game's so big, I'm taking the day off because you guys kick off at 6. That's in the middle of my show. I ain't missing this. I mean, this is history. I'm taking the day off so I can be there before the game, during the game, and then after the game to celebrate.
Well, Jason, I appreciate you. Nobody's more devastated than me and our staff and our kids. But I believe at the beginning of the year, somebody would have told us, you know, we were 11-1, won the West, and we'll get to host the championship game on Friday night at 6. We probably would have all signed up for that. At the end of the year, we'll look back and reflect on it. But right now, we can't let one loss turn into 2. We got to get our tails back up, ready to go, try to stop Bailey Zappi Friday night. And we're going to need everybody in the Dome. It's going to take all of us. We've already beat UAB by 1 inch. We beat Western Kentucky by 1 yard last time. It matters. Every little thing matters. So we're going to need everybody Friday night.
We will be there in the Dome rocking with you. Coach, we'll talk to you Friday night after the game. I appreciate the time today. I know these aren't easy. I'm glad this is the only one we have to do this year like this.
I hope you're right, brother. That'd be a heck of a season. Appreciate y'all. God bless. Birds up.
Jeff Traylor, head football coach of the UTSA Roadrunners, as he joins us every Monday on the Blitz, brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue. And it ain't easy for a coach to come on after a loss. And there's no point in me nitpicking the game. It was what it was. And quite frankly, I didn't watch. I was at the UIW game on Saturday afternoon. I was following on my phone, had a couple of friends texting me what was going on. And I can't say that I was overly surprised, because after that big win over UAB, you were, I don't want to say due for a letdown, but I wasn't surprised to see it there. When things started going downhill, they went completely downhill. It surprised me what the final score was. The sloppy play, the fumbles. And again, they had some fumbles too. They were just able to get back on them. I didn't bother to go rewatch the game. Why do that? You know, I mean, well, and quite frankly, Pledge, my Saturday was, it was fun. You know, I started down there, you know, because it was pouring down rain at the house. So I didn't get to the UIW tailgate till maybe 11:30, although it wasn't bad tailgating in the rain because it wasn't raining that bad. Then, of course, the game was incredible. Goes to overtime, UIW knocking off Stephen F. Austin. Then we were able to get home and then went over to the Rustic for a Pat Green concert.
Oh,
and yeah? Yeah, Pat Green on a Saturday night.
Hard to beat.
Well, absolutely. And then so yesterday, I think yesterday was Sunday. It feels like it was that long of a Saturday. I think yesterday was Sunday. I didn't do crap. I went down to Pinkerton's and got some barbecue because I wasn't going to fire up my own grill. And I watched a lot of Red Zone. And I kept saying to myself, I need to watch the UTSA North Texas game. And I just was like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, why?
Why are you subjecting yourself to that?
Well, and again, I was like, when I talked to Jeff Traylor at 6 o'clock Monday, he's going to have that film put to bed because in his world, it's Tuesday, you know, because it's a short week. You know, I don't need to rehash 48 fumbles. I don't need to rehash the missed tackles. They've already moved on. It's focused on Western Kentucky, and that's what I hope happens. And I'm very curious from a fan base. Are you guys that disappointed that the perfect season is gone? That takes a little luster off a Friday night? Because some of the reactions I saw on Twitter Saturday surprised me. I mean, everything UTSA wants is still right in front of them. Everything, every bit of it is still right in front of them. Outside of a perfect season, they won more than 10 games. Never happened before. They're hosting a championship game, which they have to play it like it's a neutral field, which means you're not going to get Milton Hope, their PA announcer, getting y'all riled up on the microphone, which means you got to bring your own juice. You got to know when their quarterback has the ball, you got to be loud as hell. And when the UTSA offense is working, make it quiet. I don't know. We're a good football city. We are. But when I've been at UTSA games, I feel like there's a whole bunch of people there that's never been to a game. I mean, when in the mid-'90s when I worked at Iguanas Hockey and I was their radio guy, I understood the majority of the people that were in the building had no idea what icing was. But you're going to a football game. You know when to be quiet. You know when to be loud. The coach doesn't need to tell you. You don't need the PA guy. You don't need signs. But apparently at UTSA we do. And being on a neutral field, it's going to be that much more. To steal from Texas A&M, do they need to get some Sosa types to act like yell leaders so that we know with signs so everybody's quiet when they need to be quiet and loud when they need to be loud, right? I mean, it's embarrassing to say in the state of Texas that we've got fans in the stadium that don't understand some of the most basic concepts of football and how to watch football in a stadium. But this week, and I don't want to sound too elementary, and I trust everybody that's listening to this show understands. So the people you're around, you might need to coach them up a little bit in a nice way. Don't start a fight. Don't be an a-hole about it. But at the same time, if you're near somebody cheering when the offense is on the field, I don't know, on 3rd and 3, you politely tell them now's not the time. Shh. But maybe we do need some sign people, some yell leaders, some quiet leaders. When you go to the Valero Texas Open or any golf tournament for that matter, they have these signs that they hold up when a guy's putting or about to tee off that say quiet. And I believe they're sponsored by Whataburger. At least the one that I have in my house is. Hey, Whataburger types, can we print up some signs that are going to be used at the Valero Texas Open in March or April? Can we borrow some of those quiet signs for the Dome on Saturday? And then some loud signs when it's time to get loud? Because they're going to need some of that. And take the day off. Getting a message from a guy named Mark. He and his wife are both taking the day off to take the kids out of school early to go tailgate prior to the game. And that's what should be. I've had some people tweet me that maybe we need to get Mayor Ron Nirenberg to declare it a city holiday. But I got to believe that if you went into your boss and said, hey, man, I want off. I'm going to the game. Here's my ticket. Your boss should let you go to that ticket without charging you a day off. At least that's what I'm hoping for my boss. I got my tickets to the game. I'm going to the game. I want to be there for history. And I don't know what the number is going to be. I don't know. If they'd have beat North Texas, I was thinking 65. You would have that kind of fire. The hell with North Texas. The hell with that game. There still needs to be 65 in the Dome. I believe 56,000 is the record for UTSA football set in game 1. Can we get to 60? I mean, the amount of student tickets that are available, thanks to all the business people and fans that donated money. And if you go online to try to buy the ticket, it looks like the lower level is pretty well gone. They're opening up the upper level. Hell, I've seen even, on the resale sites that tickets are available for a pretty good chunk of money. Don't be the guy trying to make money off of this. Just go to the game if you got the tickets. Because history is going to be made. I mean, we've never had that. I mean, to think in a week's time in the great city of San Antonio, we have hosted a first-round playoff game at the FCS level with UIW beating Stephen F. Austin in overtime 35-28. Friday night, you're going to have a Conference USA championship game for the first ever time in San Antonio. It's incredible. And when I think about the crowd that was at Benson Stadium, they had their campaign to pack the nest. People showed up. It was a lot of fun out there at Benson Stadium on Saturday. Weather sucked. It didn't matter. They went out, and that was a good time, and we saw a great football game that had a little bit of everything that goes into overtime, and UIW gets that playoff win. It was an incredible atmosphere. Friday night in the Dome, it needs to be that same way. And then Saturday, find a UIW watch party as they go and take on Sam Houston State down in Huntsville. And what I love is the community making sure of stuff. I saw a tweet earlier that a donor has ponied up to take buses to Huntsville for the students at UIW. And those buses have, obviously your ride, a ticket, and meals. I mean, you got a kid at UIW, get them on a bus. Make sure they're down there. Bauer Stadium is a tough place to go play. And if you need some bar advice afterwards, let me know. I know where both of them are. And then if you don't want to be where the college kids are, there's a little bar called the Timeout Bar that's pretty good. Those beers there are $3. At the Jolly Fox, they're $1.25. That's the difference. You can go to Shenanigans. Remember being in Shenanigans one time, I was buying everybody around the drinks. They were like $8. I said, no, I'm getting them all. They said, that's all of it. Like all these for $8? God, I love college towns. There's a couple good places to eat there in Huntsville. We can help you out. I'm going to be torn on Saturday. Eric Morris will join us on Thursday, head coach at UIW. Well, what a time for college football in San Antonio. It really is a great time. Be at the Dome Saturday. Take off work early. Make sure you go tailgate. Make sure you be loud when UTSA is on defense. Quiet when UTSA is on offense. Just saying. Kind of embarrassing sometimes when you look around and go,
You're brilliant, man. You should have that printed on a shirt.
What's that?
Loud on defense, quiet on offense?
Well, I mean, look, so here's what we need to do. We need some people with signs, but you need yell leaders and then quiet leaders. See, so somebody at UTSA needs to go over to Sammy's Embroidery Club and get some shirts made that say yell and then some shirts that say quiet. And then that way they're staged all throughout the stadium, and I don't know who's allowed on the field, but you go down there and you get a bunch of shirts that say yell and then a bunch of shirts that say quiet so that the Dome is done right. And you get into Sammy's Embroidery Club on San Pedro, he'll get those turned around for you before the game on Friday night. In fact, Sam's the only company in Texas that offers one-day turnaround. No order too big, no order too small. Just make sure you get him. And he's got the orange, too. You need maybe some blue, some orange, some white, whatever. I mean, it's just yell, quiet, loud, quiet. I think you're on to something, Pledge, and Sammy's the guy that can do it for you. You need some shirts made for the UTSA game. Maybe your tailgate's having a big old event. You need some shirts done for your tailgate. Sammy's Embroidery Club. It's probably going to be cold as well. So whether it's tailgating, you're a business owner, a club leader, you need your logo on winter gear. Sammy's got that winter gear on display right now in his showroom. Jackets, coats, hoodies, half zips, beanies. He's got all the big name brands, North Face, Eddie Bauer, Nike, Port Authority, and he has inventory in stock. Not many can say that. Sammy has your polos, your T-shirts, your hats all in stock. In fact, he has the largest selection of caps, including the popular Richardson style cap in stock. Over 700 uniform lines to choose from, and not just embroidery, silkscreen shirts for any occasion. Yell, quiet. He'll get them done for you. Sammy's Embroidery and Printing. Nobody has better prices. Sammy has all the big name brands, and you can call Sammy's Embroidery Club 210-824-3900 or go into that massive showroom down on San Pedro, a mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's. The website, samsembroidery.com for Sammy's Embroidery Club. Yell, quiet. Clint Stoerner joins us next here on the Blitz after James Pledger has Sports Center.
Thanks a lot, Jason. The Cowboys, who have lost 3 of the last 4 and 2 straight following their Thanksgiving 36-33 overtime loss to the Raiders, look to get back on track on Thursday against the Saints, but they'll have to do so without head coach Mike McCarthy, who tested positive for COVID-19 this morning and will miss that game. Dan Quinn will assume head coaching duties in McCarthy's absence. In other Cowboy news, defensive tackle Tristan Hill has been suspended for the next 2 games by the NFL for his altercation throwing a punch after the Thursday night Thanksgiving loss. The Houston Texans fell to 2-9 on the year with a 21-14 loss to the New York Jets. The Texas Rangers in Major League Baseball had a huge weekend that continued into today, as today they added shortstop Corey Seager on a 10-year, $325 million deal. Along with Seager, the Rangers have also signed infielder Marcus Semien to a 7-year, $175 million deal, starting pitcher John Gray to a 4-year, $56 million deal, and outfielder Cole Calhoun to a 1-year, $5.2 million deal. Also tonight in the NBA, the Spurs look to win their second straight when they take on the Wizards at 7:30. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
The Roo Pub is the best place to watch a game. Football, basketball, the big fights, they have them on at the Roo on their 3 massive 170-inch laser screens and TVs all around. Come hungry, the food is fantastic, and the kitchen is open until 2 a.m. every day with the full menu available. The Roo Pub has the best darts area in town, indoor cornhole and weekday happy hour from 11 to 6. For lunch, dinner, or late at night, and the best place to watch a game, get into the Roo Pub at 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
O'Reilly. Is your vehicle ready for holiday travel? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you save on your next oil change. Right now, get a $15 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Castrol Edge full synthetic motor oil for $32.95. Plus, earn double O Rewards points with your purchase. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Fever is the leading symptom of COVID and the flu, and the only way to reliably detect it is with an accurate thermometer. Be vigilant and be accurate with the Exergen Temporal Scanner, whose accuracy has been proven in more than 100 clinical studies. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers. They are proven to be inaccurate and will not reliably detect a fever that might mean COVID. Be sure to seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
BC Powder knows life pushes us to the max, work to the max, family to the max. It can all mean pain to the max. So BC introduces new BC Max Strength. New BC Max relieves tough headaches and body pain at the speed of powder. Nothing stronger on pain without a prescription. Pain to the max? New BC Max in a great tasting lemonade flavor.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of DieHard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on DieHard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
Hey, Dallas Cowboy fans, Jason Minix here, letting you know Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys, and San Antonio Sports Star, we're throwing a viewing party for the Cowboys-Saints game this Thursday out at R&J Saloon. We'll start with a live broadcast of the Blitz from 4 to 7, then stick around and watch the Cowboys take on the Saints. Enjoy $2 Miller Lite long necks during the game and register to win some great Miller Lite Dallas Cowboys gear and other great holiday stuff. That's this Thursday, 4 to 7 at R&J Saloon on South Flores.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. Schedule one of their whole home specialists to come out to your house for a free water analysis. And right now, Alamo Water Softeners is offering 0% financing for 2 years with approved credit. Take advantage of this same as cash offer on a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference at alamowatersofteners.com.
Happy Hour is back at Twin Peaks, and we're offering up more than just great drinks. Score yourself some chips and salsa for just $2. Your choice of mozzarella cheese bites, chips and queso, or fried pickles, where they're just $4. And the triple play quesadillas or 6 bonus wings, that's right, only $6. Each of these epic appetizers are craveable, shareable, and delicious. And what a deal. Happy Hour at Twin Peaks just got better. See you Monday through Friday, 2 to 7 p.m. Again at late night. Get to Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, and those scenic views.
Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on this Monday afternoon. Kind of an odd Sunday for me with the Cowboys playing on Thursday. And granted, Saturday with the UIW game, tailgate, and then a football game, then a Pat Green concert. I didn't do much on Sunday, and watching a little bit of the Houston Texans didn't help. Trust me. My man Clint Stoerner has to watch the Texans week in and week out. Clint, how's your Monday going, man?
Man, it's going good. I tell you what I didn't do was watch a college football game and then get to enjoy a little Pat Green, man. I mean, that's you're right up my alley there. That would have been a good evening. Yeah, you're right. I didn't get to enjoy that, and I did have to suffer through another Texans game. That's for sure.
You know, I spent a little bit more time on Red Zone than the Texans, but it was an opportunity to watch a little bit of Texans football, and there were times where I thought, all right, they're doing some pretty good things. Then there's some times where you're going, the hell is that team doing?
Yeah, for me, there's a lot more of the what the hell is that team doing? I mean, look, in the big picture, man, in the big picture, the Jets were the worst. They're the worst defense in football. I mean, they were allowing 400. But right, not against the Texans. They're allowing 415 yards a game. The Texans offense went out there, and against that worst defense in the league, they put up 202 yards, I believe, is what their total production was offensively. So you think about that. They were 200 yards short of what the worst defense in the league has been giving up on average per game. They fell 200 yards short. That is if you want to take the statistical angle of it, or if you just want to just outside looking in, that is the perfect, I think, indication of who the Texans are. They are that bad. It was another rough outing for them for sure. They've got some decisions to make, and the biggest news about the Texans was the Justin Reed situation, where their starting safety, one of their best players, was named inactive before the game.
Well, and I was going to get there with Justin Reed. Have we heard any more background as to why? I mean, I've heard argument with the coach, all kinds of different things like that. But I mean, what are you hearing as to why?
Well, it was beyond just a disagreement with the coach, and I don't know exactly what all the details are. But I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say that there was some kind of disagreement with Justin Reed and the players, Justin Reed and a coach. Something happened at practice in a meeting, and Justin Reed was in a position to where he pushed the envelope, if you will, of the new regime's standards, their rules, their regulations. And he pushed the envelope, and he was given the opportunity to backpedal and apologize, essentially. And he said, "Hell, I ain't apologizing for nothing. I'm not backpedaling on anything." And they were the coaching staff. Well, let's be honest. David Culley at that point was in a position to where, does he let the player get away with it and let him play, or since the player's not going to let the team know that what he pushing the envelope is not a good idea. If he's not going to do it by apologizing, then we'll take the opportunity. We'll take his helmet away from him, make him inactive, so that the team, the young players, don't think that what he did is acceptable. I don't know exactly what he did, but I'm going to guess it was something to do with being 2-9. Being frustrated with an offense that can't piss a drop, essentially. And there was probably some back and forth between him and some teammates. He probably took it a little bit further than he should have. The coaching staff stepped in and felt like they needed to discipline him if he wasn't going to apologize. and he decided he wasn't going to apologize, so they disciplined him.
You know, the crazy part is this is after they won a game. I mean, they were coming off a win over Tennessee, 8 straight losses, and it seemed like everybody in the locker room, I don't want to say was okay with what was going on in the losing, but there didn't seem to be finger pointing. You're coming off of a win, and you have that.
Well, they were coming off of a win, but if you look at it, this is why how I'm connecting the dots here. Is if you look at it, the Miami game and the Tennessee Titans game, they split those 2 games. They somehow lost the Miami game, even though the defense had 5 let's say the defense had 4 turnovers, special teams had 1. Right? The offense did absolutely nothing. In fact, they turned it over 4 times, and were trying to match the Miami Dolphins turnovers there. The Texans lost that ball game. They come back out against the Tennessee Titans, which everybody was injured, and that particular game they're able to win that ball game, even though the offense again literally did absolutely nothing. The defense gave them 2 interception returns inside the 15-yard line, and they had a special teams turnover. I believe it was a special teams turnover. But anyway, nonetheless, the offense did absolutely nothing for 2 straight games. They're 2-9. I've been on bad football teams, Jason. You know this. When you're 2-9 and you're struggling, the locker room's going to fracture at some point. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be fights. I've seen that happen. I've never seen an organization take the helmet away from a star player, one of their leaders, a guy that's been a good soldier, for a lack of better terms, his entire career. I've never seen him pull his helmet the Friday before a game.
It is nuts. And then I look at the game that they ended up playing. You know, the Houston Texans actually led 14-3 in this game, end up losing 21-14 in a very weird way of getting to 21. And like you said, just a bizarre, ugly offensive game. And what's crazy is the Houston Texans finished with 202 yards. They had 157 yards at halftime.
Yeah, that's the scary thing, Jay. That's the scary thing, man. They in the second half they ran 19 plays. 19 plays, 45 yards in the second half, and it really is. I mean, it's tough to watch. It is this last year's Texas team was the worst defense that I've ever watched in my years of watching film, college and pro. That is the poorest excuse for an 11-man unit on the defensive side of the football that I've ever watched. Last year, Texans. This year, the Texans' offense is by far the worst I've ever watched, and it doesn't matter. You know, a lot of people thought, well, when Davis Mills, you know, when he gets benched and Tyrod Taylor comes back, it'll change, man. Tyrod will right the ship. It's been worse when Tyrod Taylor's been in the game. And the schedule's weakened up a bit. And so, yeah, look, I mean, there's a couple of different things here that's going on with the Texans. I mean, I'll give you 2 of them real quick, Jay. The Justin Reed situation, it's not about what happened. It's not even about how this regime handled it in the moment by pulling his helmet. The thing is moving forward, do we see Justin Reed in a Texans uniform again? I think that's a legit question right now. I don't know if he comes back. It's the last year of his career. I mean, last year in his contract, he's got 6 ball games left under that contract. He's from the old regime. He's clearly not seeing eye to eye with the new regime. It wouldn't surprise me if we haven't already seen the last game for Justin Reed. That's that scenario. That's the off the field Texans. The on the field Texans, Jay, here's the biggest problem. Yesterday, in the first drive against the New York Jets, in the very first drive of the ball game, David Johnson had 6 touches. David Johnson, the washed-up running back, had 6 touches. Brandon Cooks, the only offensive weapon they had in the entire game, had 5 targets. You do the math and tell me what's going on in Houston.
Yeah, they ain't trying to win. Clint Stoerner joining us here on the Blitz, former Cowboy quarterback. He hosts on Sports Radio 610 in Houston. At least he gets paid to watch the Texans. Everybody else that's watching, they're doing it for misery, like our producer, James Pledger. Let's talk a little quarterback play. I said earlier in the show, I feel like Dak Prescott is in a slump. He just seems off target. I know the run game isn't right with Zeke being hurt, and he didn't have Amari and CD, and reasons or excuses, however you want to couch them. But Dak doesn't look like he's on target. He's missing throws low and away, high and outside. When you're a quarterback and you're going through a bit of a slump, how do you work your way out of it?
You get your star players that create separation and have a larger catch window. You get them healthy. I mean, look, here's the truth of the matter. Look, I'm a big Dak fan, man. I'm a huge Dak fan. But the truth of the matter is, Dak is not as polished a passer as the guys that he's often mentioned in the same conversation with. Right? He's mentioned with the greats in this game right now. He is not as polished a passer. It doesn't matter if we're talking about the high ceiling of Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes, or we're talking about the sheer arm strength of a Josh Allen, or if we're talking about the pinpoint accuracy, timing, anticipation of the Tom Brady, Drew Brees type of guys. The fact of the matter is that Dak Prescott is slightly below in all of those different categories of those particular quarterbacks. And he needs to have his guys, which we all do. This isn't anything. All the guys I mentioned, by the way, they need to have their guys healthy as well. But what happens is Dak's deficiencies, if you will, his shortcomings, if you will, they're magnified times 10 when you take away his big-time targets. Aaron Rodgers, when you take away his big-time targets, he makes it work because he's unbelievably pinpoint accurate at anywhere inside of 40 yards down the field, and held the deep balls even unbelievably accurate, right? When you take away Dak Prescott's larger catch window guys, when you take Amari Cooper, nobody creates separation as quick and as sudden as he does in the game right now. His route running's unbelievable. And so you take those things away, then all of a sudden Dak Prescott, his deficiencies, if you will, are magnified times 10. So I think we can call it a slump if we want, but I really believe that Dak Prescott is just a sliver under those uber talented top line quarterbacks that we're talking about from a passing perspective. And when he doesn't have his dudes, we see that.
Fair enough. And then I look at, you're in a game that you end up losing in overtime. Yet, and I know Zeke is a little banged up, but Tony Pollard has proven to be a very capable running back. You got Kellen Moore calls 20 rush plays and 47 pass plays, or at least that's how it came out in the wash. In a tight game when you're not down 3 scores, just throwing it every down, trying to catch back up, is it wise of the Cowboys without Cooper and without CeeDee Lamb to be throwing it 47 times?
It's not, for me, in my opinion, it's not wise for them to throw it 47 times with those guys in the game. It's not. Jay, you and I have talked about this since we started this thing week 1. There is the recipe for the Cowboys to compete in the playoffs is run. It's a balanced attack. I'll even give you a couple of extra attempts in the pass game for all my pass happy fans out there. I'll give you 60-40, but there's got to be the opponent absolutely has to stop the run top to bottom, not just, well, they stopped at the first drive, let's vacate it for the rest of the game, right? You've got to go out there and make a concerted effort every single game. It's got to be your identity. It's got to be who you are. And now if they stop that, you get into the second half, get late in the game, it's a tight ball game. You're not able to run the ball for an extended period of time. Now you got the luxury to go spin the ball over the park if you need to. I will take this to the grave with me. I don't care what anybody says. This football team, the way the Dallas Cowboys are built, I don't care how talented they are at the wide receiver position. They are 60-40 at best, if not 50-50 run-pass ratio, and they got a chance to win this whole thing. They really do. They're that good of a football team. But you get into that pass-happy stuff, vacate the run, they're gonna get beaten in the first round, and we're going to be talking bad about them again. As not being a team that could win in the playoffs.
Clint Stoerner joining us here on the Blitz. He played quarterback for the Cowboys back in the day, and you look at this team that's lost 3 of 4, and it doesn't feel like it's time to hit the panic button because all 3 losses are to AFC teams. And The Eagles had an opportunity yesterday with the win over the Giants to at least make the NFC East interesting, and they didn't get that done. But you've got Saints football team, Giants football team, Cardinals, Eagles coming up for the Cowboys. And everything they want still right in front of them. Not hitting the panic button, but at what point do you go, if you lose to the Saints, is it panic button time? How close should my finger be to that panic button?
Well, I think it should be really close because you hit the nail on the head. 3 out of 4, and you've got a Thursday night football game. And I believe I saw this morning where they got popped with eight different positive COVID tests this morning. And now I don't know who they were, coaches, players, vaccinated, unvaccinated. I don't know how that's going to impact them. But you're on a short week. I guess it's not a short week because they did play on Thanksgiving. But you already got guys that are injured, and now you got a COVID issue. And so if you lose another football game, you've lost 4 of 5, and you've only got 5 ball games left to get guys healthy. Hopefully COVID doesn't hit you again, and for you to get in stride. You got 5 ball games. You got 6 ball games overall right now to somehow get Zeke healthy, right? I mean, the Cowboys have a lot of problems. I'm not hitting the panic button because I don't think they can play. I'm hitting the panic button because it's getting late in the season, and they got more problems than they can handle, and you don't want to limp into the playoffs. And they're going to make the playoff. They're going to win the division because nobody else in the division seems to want to play for it. They're going to make the playoffs. The problem is what kind of shape are the Cowboys in when they get there? They need to get their guys healthy, and they need to be hitting on all cylinders week 1 of the playoffs so that they have a chance to make a legit run. They're not good enough, and I think they've shown us that, to limp in. The one thing that you mentioned about the games coming up for the Cowboys, Jay, is I don't know what kind of team New Orleans is, but I know their defense is scary, right? I don't know what kind of team the Washington football team actually is, but I know they got a defense that can make a whole lot of racket. You've got some good defensive football teams that can cause problems, especially if you're limping into that game. And so, I think you keep your hand real close to that panic button, and if they don't get healthy and right the ship pretty quick, they're going to have problems.
Good stuff. Clint Stoerner, former Cowboy quarterback. You can listen to him on Sports Radio 610 in Houston now. Always appreciate it, my friend. We'll catch up soon.
You got it, man. Y'all be good.
Appreciate it. Clint Stoerner joining us here on the Blitz. Now, for the Cowboys, they do have some help coming. Demarcus Lawrence is coming back. CD is coming back. We expect Amari back on Thursday night. Spurs in action tonight. We'll get you ready as we continue here on the Blitz, thinking about all those injuries. If you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries, and he has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There's no reason for you to be in pain. If you're hurting, call and schedule an appointment at 210-804-5490, 804-5490, or learn more online, tsaog.com.
Saturday afternoons mean one thing: college football. Oh my God! Hear games from all Power 5 conferences all season long, every Saturday from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and past South Dakota, Santa was coming on his brand new Kubota.
That's not how it goes.
The sidekick, you see, was his new mode of travel. In his XG850, he was kicking up gravel.
What about the reindeer?
In Texas, he said, now I need a tractor. A Kubota from Ewald is just the right factor. While driving his sidekick, he sang through the night,
Merry Christmas to all. And to all a good night.
If you and your spouse went from I do to I don't, it may be time to walk down a new aisle. Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Polling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
Ugh, my stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
It's not magic that will deliver 1 billion packages to homes across the country this holiday. It's the United States Postal Service. And we don't need a team of reindeer to do it, because we've added more vehicles to our fleet. And while we don't come down your chimney, we can pick up presents for you and yours. So if making more holiday deliveries to homes in the U.S. than anyone else seems like magic, that means we're doing our job. Share the magic at USPS.com/helpers.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get access. Well, not anymore, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month and no contract. Plus, get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Unjoke your sleep at Mattress Firm's Cyber Week sale and wake up a better you. Shop in-store or online and save up to $500 when you get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base with qualifying Sealy purchase up to a $499 value. Or save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic, the most highly recommended bed in America. And you can shop with confidence thanks to our low price guarantee. Unjunk your sleep, only at Mattress Firm. Offer valid with qualifying purchase. Restrictions apply. See details at mattressfirm.com.
This is the place where time stands still. With each down, there's a battle of inches.
How about 83 yards from Prescott to Elliott?
This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, this is Jason Fitz, and you're on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Manu Ginobili.
This is Matt Bonner.
Hi, this is DeJounte Murray.
This is Daryl Johnston from the San Antonio Spurs. This is San Antonio Sports Star.
It's game night, San Antonio.
Spurs trying to get back-to-back wins for the first time this season. They beat Boston on Friday night. They've got Washington in tonight. And I tell you what, James Pledger, as you get ready for this game, I don't know what kind of mood Pop is in, but his entire pregame today was, I don't know, about 40 seconds.
With that same starting group you've been using?
What the hell? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Are you thinking Doug and Devin will be able to make the road trip and come back with something there?
I don't know. If they're on the plane, then I know they're on the road trip.
What you guys like about Devontae Kaycock? Nice.
What do we like about him?
Yeah, Devontae.
I have no idea. I've never seen him play.
Do you see the backup center position is still a little fluid between Drew and Thad, or is there kind of moving towards any direction?
Drew's gotten a lot more minutes than Thaddeus has, so I think that's probably the way we've pretty much pictured it.
All right. Anybody else?
That's it. That was his entire pregame. Those reporters got a lot out of that. Talking to Pop sometimes is like pulling teeth. And I tell you what, if you need your wisdom teeth out, a tooth pull, dental implants, you need to know about Dr. Mark Havercorn at River City Oral Surgery. He's a specialist, oral surgeon, medical doctor, treats people of all ages, and he offers direct patient care so you don't need a referral. You simply call 210-778-0002. Make an appointment. All prices are listed on the website, rivercityoms.com. And even if you have dental insurance, they're probably still going to be less. And all prices are inclusive, including your post-op care. Free market medicine is the way to go. River City Oral Surgery, 210-778-0002 or rivercityoms.com.
Rapper with Jack, benefiting Family Service Association, is happening now through